Look at this on this cup. Isn't that cute? This is my Viking from Norway. Hildy, well, you done real good, sweetheart. I'm telling you, real proud of you. Out of a wheelchair, out of bed, hands straightening up. Just done fantastic on yourself. Don't stop until your body's totally regenerated. Totally so. You've done so well. A lot of you guys have just way out there. You're taking your body back into Wellville Station. Really proud of you. Thanks, Linda. This is Linda. Love you too, sweetheart. Really, thank you, honey. You know, there's so many questions you have for me. I just feel so bad. I can't get to them all the time, so I really apologize for that. Really trying here. So I'm going to try to speed it up and get through as many of these questions as I can. So I apologize. I'd like to spend some time talking with you, but I really appreciate this. Isn't that cute? It says, this is my 7-year-old watching your videos with me. She tells her friends and even adults the power of fruits. You know what? I just can't tell you how my heart just swells, sweetheart. This is Casey. Just because of what this means to this little girl, that this information is going to help her the rest of her life avoid the calamity and the hell that's going out there in the medical profession, and just what's going on out there. It's just, I mean, the cases we see here all the time is just amazing. And you just see, you know, through the years, just the toll that it's taken on the human cell and the human psychic, actually. So this is a new day, a new time. This is a time to get rid of all those things that hurt you, all those things that suppress you, all those things that would block your happiness, your joy, and time to get yourself back, time to spend some time alone, and teaching your children how to be well. This mother and dad is obviously very spiritual, and to get your children well and to change their consciousness at these early ages. It's just how we build a beautiful planet for those wanting to travel and stop here, I suppose, you know. But it's definitely these young souls like this, 7 years old, or young bodies with souls. I have to say, these souls are generally they have all kinds of names for them, from the golden child to, you know, there's all kinds of names out there. The Aquarian children, I mean, there's all kinds of names. It's enough to say that more advanced souls, or souls that have been on journeys longer than others, that are more awakened, are coming here. And I think that's to help this dying, decaying planet from man's own consciousness. At that level, the human consciousness, and help to bring that state up and expand it. Life is, we talked about that in the last video, life is always expanding and growing. And so that's what needs to be. This needs to be able to breathe more. You know, negative needs to back up and more positive energy come in. That breathing of positive, negative. We've been enough negative. We have to breathe the positive out there and the love out there and turn the negative around a little bit, because it's just, you know, keeping and maintaining the balance. You'll find God has created entities or beings that he uses, or it uses, to keep itself in balance. And you're one of them. Mm-hmm. This is beautiful. I'm writing to you to just let you know that I'm extremely thankful. Oh, thanks, sweetheart. I was diagnosed with interstitial cystitis. You notice there's so much of this around now, interstitial cystitis. But, and we're talking that yesterday, there was this whole week we're talking about all the, and I've mentioned this to you before, all the cancers, all the tumors, and cancer not being diseases. The fact that man's acidosis, his lymphatic systems, are back so much more now in the head, throat area. Man, it's unbelievable. I was just down at the RV place yesterday, and everyone I was talking to had a problem. Every one of them. One guy was diagnosed with GERD for years, had been on all the antacids out there, and still hurting bad. Prilosec, Zantac, all this stuff. And I said, because your burn isn't hydrochloric acid burn. Your burn is interstitial. Interstitial, meaning in the wall, round the cells. And I hate this because this kind of burn leads to nothing but the mutation of the cell. Call it whatever you want. And it leads to the swelling of the tissue, and then, of course, the formation of cysts or tumors. And so these things these are just blockage of sewage, of the lymph. And so we have to get those kidneys opened up. Because, you know, we don't talk much about this, but the worst thing that can happen is the decay of the lymph nodes. And this is something that you just don't know because you can't see within people in that way. The eyes show somewhat. And whenever I see a decay of a lymph node, in the lymph node area, close to the outer skin area, you'll see a little lacuna. You'll see a little area. And instead of having like a lot of mucus where it's swollen and full of lymph, it'll show like a little lacuna, a little spot. These things are dangerous because if you decay your lymph nodes, all I can say is I think we're real good at getting people well. I think you guys and all of us together are the best. But I have to say, not to separate people from being good or bad, but all man's got to work itself up to this level you guys are working on. No matter what kind of abbreviation we add to that, at least we have to get to this level. I mean, please. So it's an interesting road going down there, and you just have to keep doing your best to open up this lymph flow. And just whatever you do, you have to do the best. And training these children. I've got 2 grandkids. I was talking to Jen about that. 2 grandkids, both raised on raw. And my God, you know, they're way out there. You know, they're really incredible beings. But everyone is an incredible being, no question. But, you know, as a grandkid, sometimes you go, oh, you know. That's enough to say that my youngest one is 2, and I've watched him, observed him on coconut milk since he was just a few months, all the way to fruit. He was eating fruit only after a few months old. And he was putting round pegs in round holes only after a few months old. I mean, this is what's coming into this planet. And that's why these parents here of this 7-year-old, I applaud you guys because, and here's love to your daughter too. I mean, you guys are doing just what the whole world needs to do, is educate their children on wellness. Because it will spill out into their academics. It will spill out in, are you going to be in hospitals and ERs all the time with your kids? Because nowadays, with all the genetic weaknesses, you parents are facing some serious medical expenses. And then with the new, in this country, with the Obamacare and the out-of-pocket expenses the individual has to pay makes it so high that there's no way we'll stress that account. You know, if you have to pay the first $6,000, $7,000, $8,000, I can get you a lot of things. I can get you surgery done for that. I can get a lot of things done for that if you know the place to go. So it's just, it'll save you in all ways. Plus, your children will be more spiritual and academically inclined, more street savvy in terms of how they survive the wilderness of these governments and these agencies that think they know what's up, like the American Dietetics Association. These people need to close their doors and go home and pray their karma doesn't hurt them too bad. Because the sad thing, of course, it's just the way it is, and no one gets hurt, but at the same time, in the moment of time, it feels it. But it's just you're tied to these things. You know, and that's the problem about being unconscious, is you create unconsciously at one level of yourself. Of course, the other level of yourself, you're always conscious, so you know what you're doing. But that's generally an unconscious from the conscious mind, which seems to dominate. And the conscious mind is made predominantly of thoughts. And once you take that conscious mind and you set that out there and you become more awake or conscious from not the mind but from yourself as a being, then that will change, and you will be more aware of your unconscious, which is simply more of reality, more of yourself being more awakened, and you'll see more. The only reason you have one side versus another is that your attention is often drawn outwardly, while the other aspects of yourself are registering everything it's seeing, but consciously your attention is tied to your thoughts. That's why we talk about stop thinking and stop talking, and there's nothing you won't know. So it shows you that the mind isn't the living presence of reality. You, awareness, consciousness, intelligence, whatever you wish to call that which is the real you, that is the living reality, the living truth, as they say. So I applaud these parents that do that. Thanks, Casey. Girl Gone Raw. I remember that. Absolutely. Let me see here. I took your basic advice of fruits, berries, and melons and healed myself completely in 20 days with just berries. 24 hours after doing all berries, my extreme debilitating pain was gone. Isn't that amazing? Congratulations. And keep working on this. Get some kidney formulas and keep cleaning your lymph system. Make sure you're filtering in the kidneys. Check your urine. Get your adrenals up. And get yourself, Mom, so well that you'll never even have to even think of something like that, and you've avoiding your bladder cancers and everything else. Good job, Mom. But this is a good case to show you, again, what you can achieve if you get yourself focused. I know we should be beyond right now on this site the concept of vegetables versus fruit and get into the fruits, berries, and the melons, because you'll read when you find these cases and people step that next step, they start getting better quicker. And it's just a higher step toward Wellville, but it's more of a step in line with your physiology. I was thinking about this, when you go out there and you have a big bush of blackberries, do you pick the leaves instead of the blackberries? No, you're going to pick the blackberries. I was watching a tree of some omnivores coming in on this huge tree outside my back full of berries. And the robins came down from up north, of course, and they found that tree, of course. Didn't take much, I'm sure. Well, there's thousands of them around that tree, and I have to laugh. They're not after the leaves on the tree. They're not after the worms in the ground. They're after the berries, baby, because they're going to get drunk and they're going to have some fun for a while they're down here. You ever see a bird get drunk on berries? Funny, but it's still, this is my point, We are frugivores, and within that realm includes flowers, things that taste good, that sort of thing. Piece of lettuce. Ripe mango from Costa Rica. Tough choice. That was incredible, honey. I'm looking forward to continue the detox journey. Good. We tune into every video. Oh, thanks. Love to you guys so much. Just thought you should know. I just love this. Thanks, guys. Say hi to your daughter for me. Thanks. That's sweet. But I'm proud of her and proud of you guys. And that we all need to help each other like that and build a civilization on this planet that, like the Essenes, where you deal in love and humility and hugs. Yep, like hugs. This is Debbie. Oh, this is Hi Shannon. These are pictures update for Laura. Yeah, I think I went over these. Yeah, I went over these with you. This is for Laura. And Laura, I went over these, it's, like I said, a little kidney, heavy lymph, no question. I mean, you got great genes here, heavy lymph. Take a look at these eyes, guys. Blue, no question. See the thick lymph? See all this thick white and yellow, just thick lymph. Great genes, great genes. So this is another George Burns out there. Malabsorption, definitely. You got lymph heavy in the bowel wall. But still, I need to get that to your chart. This is Nicolas. These pictures are sent. That's it from Google. Well, I could put this picture. This is a left. I don't have a right. Wait a minute. Yeah, I have a right here. I'm going to put this, Nicolas, in. We're going to go over these eyes next week. See how nice fibers they are, but see all that white and orangey yellow around the pupil? That's all heavy lymph with sulfur. You got a lot of sulfur. There's spots of iodine in the body here. Another good gene person, heavy lymph, major malabsorption. You got a lot of malabsorption going on. Some stomach weakness, GI tract weaknesses. No question about that. Right eye, okay, you have chest wall, right chest wall. We'll need to clean out the liver and get that liver back in tune. Also the gallbladder with it. Got a little knee going on here. Got a right kidney going on here. If this is a female or male, got a lot of lymph backing up either in the uterus or the prostate. A little bladder weakness going on, minor stuff. You got a parathyroid a little bit. Good genes here though. Clean the bronchial trunks right here. Left side, having a hard time moving the lymph left side. A lot more involvement of the lymph on the left side, but then your kidney shows worse. Here's a knee weakness on the left side, kidney on the left side, bladder on the left side, rectal wall on the left side, left chest area weakness, male or female. And then there's a lot of lymph. Sinuses are really backed up and stuff. So I'm still put this over here, and we'll go over this later. Matter of fact, let me have Chris address that, and then I'll have Chris put this back in this thing. And okay. Sorry about that. This is Steve in Colorado. Hey, Steve. Thanks, my friend. You know, you are too. Remember that. You all are bright lights in a dark world yourselves. And we're standing together. You know, all of us together are a brighter light than one. Well, that's why I just love every one of you, because we need to do this. We need to help the children. We're here to do this. A lot of us are here right now in this particular time in creation to help expand that and make a little bit of that. It's just for awakening purposes, of course, but also experience-wise and stuff like that. Too much trauma on a soul needs to spend some time in what we call rest. Won't get into that one, but too much trauma to souls are difficult. Question, please address Candida on an all-fruit diet. No, absolutely. Because of serious chronic fatigue, I've been detoxing on mostly fruit for more than a year now with intermittent fasting, including 30-day water fast. Wow, kicking butt, this guy. And a couple of 10-day fast. Boy, you're kicking butt, Steve. And on my third series of 60 to 90 days on your herbal protocols, but I still have a coated tongue. Well, it shows you how much lymph you got going on after all that. And see, this Steve gives you a good example. Here's a man working hard on himself, and he still gets a coated tongue. Yeah, well, what does that tell you? It tells you got to keep going. You know, that's the thing. I mean, that was the old ways. You keep go to that tongue's nice and pink and clean. And so it's just telling you, man, your lymph system's still backed up. Keep moving. And it just shows you to the extent that some of you got to go to get well. And when someone sits there and thinks you can do a 2-week detox and you're going to be well, or someone thinks you can take a few vitamins and minerals and you're going to be well, most of you guys know a lot better by now, don't you? You know, that's why it's so important that people have to learn that we have a whole nother level that's involved here. We have a level of detoxification and regeneration of genetic weaknesses and the like that we're into, not treatment-based thinking. That's way back in those people that want to not take any responsibility or something. I mean, that type of thinking can't be at this level anymore because the planet's decaying from that level of thinking. So these states of consciousness are low, and you guys are being trained in a much higher level of awareness. Remember that. And some people still want to go back. Don't go backwards. Go forward, go more expansive, more awareness, because that's the whole point. You know, sometimes we give up too quick and we go and research and start grabbing things again. And the thing is like Steve here, he's recognizing here that, ow, I've done all this work and my tongue still gets coated. So that's what I'm saying. You know, it's a bit of some work there to get yourself back to Wellville. But you know, you make it fun work. You got to make it fun. You got to change your perspective. And that's as easy as any time you decide to change it, you can, because you're in total control of your mind and your consciousness if you awaken to that. If not, you're in totally being controlled by your mind and emotions. And it's just you anyway. I mean, it becomes interesting when you look at that and understand it's just you controlling yourself and you taking yourself down to roads, and it's just being aware of what roads you don't want to go down anymore. And quit going down them. You know? Wake up and start a new road and make this a fun, happy journey because you feel good, you taste good. Self-discipline, important. So what if you crave something? Go cheat once in a while just for the neurotic experience of cheating and having that, but then your body goes, whoops, didn't quite, not like what I remembered. I don't feel so good eating that. So that's the value of that though, because the body, it shows you the difference between the body and its sensitivities, and your emotions and its needs, right? And the mental image is hooked to those emotional needs. Got to have a Twinkie. Ugh. Or whatever it is, you know? And sometimes that Twinkie is nirvanic. So, you know, there's nobody with clubs around. Nobody's going to chastise you. I'm not going to jump on your case if you cheat once in a while. But reality is you have to work yourself to Wellville. There's no free rides. You're doing it yourself. I'm your friend. I love all of you, so I'm going to have my arms around each and every one of you. We're going to walk together. I work on myself all the time. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Nothing's perfect. It's just creation. The only thing I see perfect is you. The mind, the emotions, these are all conditioned, flexible instruments of expression. Okay, and on my third series, okay, protocols, but I still have a coated tongue and am weak in addition to brain fog. So, Steve, you got to really keep moving that detox, because by telling me you have a coated tongue, telling me you have a lot going on down here, which means you need to get that cleaned up a little bit to drain the sinuses and to drain this head up here. You might try air candling yourself and playing a little with some neti pots or the 3-lung tea or lungs 2 or whatever you want to play with to try to loosen up hardened sputum, because after a while, remember, acids dehydrate. So in a dehydrated state, fluids, of course, is what you're dehydrating. And of course, everything's bathed in one way or another inside of some type of fluid solution. Eyes, knees, everywhere. Interstitial, everywhere. Even within the cell, everything's bathed in some solutions. Most of these solutions are in some way connected to blood and lymph. Because in that whole movement, things happen in the essence of fluids. So this is a whole process of hydration and getting the body to where fluids start being hydrated and moving again. When you start experiencing dry eyes and dry mouths, dry skin, you're getting really dehydrated. Serious consequences can happen when the cell inside of itself, called intracellular acidosis, that's when you have serious problems of cell mutation. Before that, it's simply called inflammation outside of the cell and the inflammatory response the body goes through in relationship to this acidosis or proteins. That simple. And most of that is geared directly to adrenal steroids. Can this be a result of Candida overgrowth? Well, if you feel like you have Candida overgrowth, get yourself on Parasite M or some parasitic formula like that, and do a month, real intense month on it, and then come off of it. You can always tell when you're because you've had Candida before, which most people do. That's starch eating and weak adrenals, that all breeds Candida big time. Too much sugar and low sugar metabolism. What would you expect? Bring in the fermenters, you know, because you have to have some part of life start breaking things down. Remember, life is always in flux, life is always moving, and it moves from the poles of positive and negative, and the scenarios birth, life, and death. Everything goes through birth, life, and death on this planet. Death being just transition, or the movement from one state to another state. Here we just we use atoms like we do Lego sets. We put atoms together just like we take Legos and put them together. The consciousness that runs all these things, and that includes the mind, it's just a bunch of Lego sets. The consciousness that turns on the light, that when you turn the switch to light up a room, all your bodies are like a dark room. The switch that turns on the light, and that which is the light, is you. That's consciousness. That's intelligence. We don't have too many words to describe who you and I are in reality. But we run everything. But we have bodies. We have our aids. It's like Krysta got on the news yesterday going, oops, I got some people in my workforce that screwed up. She did bad. That was bad. You know, blocking that bridge. But you know what? It shows you, you know, you have things going on that you're not always in control of. You can't, I don't blame Christy for that. I mean, geez, you can't, you know, you hire these people and you have to take responsibility, but you can't control another's activity and thoughts. That's why I say, you know, we need a whole resurrection of man's consciousness to where individuals feel responsible and loving to others. We're breeding. I mean, the government never looks at these things of what we're breeding as a society. And all you guys are busy breeding godliness. Everybody else is breeding aggressiveness and gossiping and, you know, all the negative sides. It's too bad. So the world needs you guys. Going, just Candida type of thing. But when you see detox, you'll keep digging deeper into the body and bringing out deeper beds of Candida. I mean, you can take parasite ever, some parasitic, and you feel like you got them. You don't crave starches or cheeses anymore. You're doing pretty good. And then as you dig deeper, you get those things coming back. And it's like, you know, I've always said that the body's kind of layered. So as you keep digging deeper and deeper, just like a backhoe digging deeper into the ground, you're digging deeper into your deepest interstitial areas in the body. And you're going to pull up different things, different barrels, different things. So your stats can go a little like this once in a while. Okay, so what? Enough killing people over stats. Or just chronic lymphatic constipation. More chronic lymphatic constipation, but within that, Steve, can be the Candida for sure. And bacteria, because that, you know, that's just all sewage that needs action. And life doesn't just sit with sewage. You can't just throw sewage on, you know, funny. You know, generally you can't put sewage on the ground without nature coming in and cleaning it up for you. Or for nature. You know, someone messes in nature. Nature's already set up with the little janitors. You got your bacterium, you got your protozoans, you got your worms, you know. And these little creatures clean things up. They're the janitors of life. So when we have a spill, or someone gets their physical butts terminated, we got to break them down. We need those atoms. We need those Legos pieces. Well, what if we couldn't break anything down? What if there was not this group of little people that breaks everything down like the bacteriums? What do you think this would be then? Everything that ever died would be here. Its bodies would still be around. How could we? That couldn't. It's impossible. Life couldn't work with that. So you can see why God created that whole scenario. Now I'll say that. You know, I've done extensive walking everywhere. And I had a golden retriever once, and him and I, we were the best of buddies. And we walked and walked and walked miles and miles every day. And back behind a house I had one time, someone had spilled some French fries on the blacktop. And I threw them out the door probably, or window. And I don't know whose they were. McDonald's, who knows who they were. But I can tell you, not an ant or a coon. When a coon doesn't eat anything, I wouldn't recommend anybody eating it. And a coon or ants, nothing touched this French. I still think it was over a year they were there. I mean, that's scary. When nothing will break down food sources, or what they call food sources, that's scary. That's real, real scary. And you put those in your body, I mean, it's just all scary stuff. You're right on here. If I should continue on or modify my I think you're doing really good. I think that I wouldn't strip the green juices. I would really go back to lemon juice fasting and grape fasting and water fasting. I think you're right on that, Steve. Do a couple days of dry fasting if you want. Make sure your kidneys are filtering. I think it's just the depth of what you're facing. So don't get mad if it takes you a couple years to get your health back. You know, it takes a good 6 months to a year to get someone back walking again, and sometimes longer than that. You know, so it just depends. But if you're in a chair or something and it takes you 2 years to get out of a wheelchair, so what? You're out. You know, and living lifetime in a wheelchair with all the decubitus and the UTIs and the spasticity and all that implies, the transference issues. I mean, you can't even list them. I can't imagine anybody that's a quad or para or any MS, Lou Gehrig's, Parkinson's, or any neurological function that's down doesn't dig this and live in it. Because one day, sometime, somewhere, you're going to see your body pass the corner of cleaning, and you'll see more rebuilding. You're talking to Hildy about that. She's been, you know, fighting extreme arthritis, you know, to the point of being in a wheelchair. And, of course, when you go on raw, generally when you have systemic acidosis, that's called fibromyalgia, that's called RA, that's called any arthritis, to tell you the truth. That's called lupus, that's called Lyme's. We got a lot of names for the same stuff, actually. Different factors it affects, but who cares? Same stuff, really. When you have that much, you really have to tear it apart and get into that body and get these acids filtering out of there. So it's just going to take you a while. When you have a systemic acidosis, you know that you are not filtering. You know your kidneys are backed, your adrenals are down, and that's what you see each and every time. I forget where I was going with that, but I can tell you that that's a whole body detox. And it generally requires that, because when you, I think now you guys are getting the fact that when you wake up with a tumor, or you wake up with pain or something, it's all through you. At one level or not. You might not be able to feel. You might see little signs like balding and little signs here and there. But guaranteed, lymph just really doesn't back up in one area. And I'll say that, but there's a point where I'll say this. In your genetically weakened areas, the lymph does back up worse. We put that over in your eyes, and the next time I do your eyes, I'll draw more attention to that, because it's noticeable in the eye, and it's noticeable. It's almost like when you have a weakness, genetic. That lymph system is also, and Jensen talked a lot about that, blood and lymph compromised in genetic weaknesses. It's almost like nature saying, okay, there's a weakness there, let's shut it off. Because that's what we have to remember, even in detoxification, that your weaknesses will tend to be kicked out of you, including fingernails, teeth, things like that. So the problem is, especially with you Facebook people, remember this, is that some people, the problem we face is detoxifying some too fast. Generally speaking, at our level we're working right now isn't too fast. What Steve's been doing is pretty aggressive, and is needed by most people. To be honest with you, most people need to do what Steve's doing. And we would have a 99% cure rate. Always going to be someone you can't save, someone that's can't get out of the mind and emotional side of it, can't be enough. That's okay, because they're touching that right now. They'll come back this lifetime or next. They'll be back, because you can't get away from this. This is the circle of life. You can't get away from returning to the foods that are designed for your physiology. Our species have been away from the proper ingestion of foods for eons of time, except for the islanders, but they are superior in their healths. And so it's something man has to do. Well, you guys are just way ahead of your time. But people have to go this route. They're the same route, the same medical applies to everybody, the same naturopathic, the same homeopathic, everything applies to everyone. If you want to get well, you got to do exactly what Steve's doing here, and Steve's still digging in. And you could dig in. Some people are so lymphatically backed up, it's not even funny. And I don't know what to say about it. My lymph system's not real happy either. Raised on milk, you'd think about it all these years. So that's why I say dig in while you're focusing. Spend as long as you can, as raw as you can, as fruit as you can, and as berries as you can. Don't even think about it. Just do as long as you can, because you'll keep getting healthier and healthier and healthier. I don't think this planet has seen a level of health that some of you are going to get, and some of you are getting. This planet hasn't seen this level. Yeah, people get healthy and da-da-da-da-da, but you know what? You look at it and you go, yeah, right. You guys are going to the extreme levels of vitality and well-being. I don't think a lot of people understand what well-being means. And it's dynamic, it's energetic, it's awake. It's like, I don't ever get tired, I get bored. Just that side of power and energy and consciousness and awareness and happiness and joy and love, and that's well-being. Where we all dance in the sunlight. A week ago I tried dry fasting. A week ago I tried dry fasting for 2 days after only 2 initial days on water only, and it kicked my butt. Yeah, so you see that definitely you got work to do there. I keep going like you're doing. See, I can't tell you, you're doing just perfect. Just more time on the planet, more time on the Bronco here. He had to stop it. I was in a lot of pain all over. My voice got very hoarse and psychologically a little paranoid. Yeah, absolutely. Well, it just tells me, you got your adrenals here. It tells me your lymphatic system's really backed up. Steve, sometime get your eyes in here and put a note on that's you. My voice got very hoarse, meaning you're really backed up in your esophagus and in your throat then. And that's what's going to happen. Part of a detox is losing your voice. If you've got a weakness in that throat, you're going to get a sore throat for sure. If you get a sore throat during detox, you got a weakness there. Good. Get that out of there, because that's your next cancer, maybe. You never know. So you're getting rid of that which causes the mutation of cells. That's simple. So this hoarse throat just tells me, Steve, you're really backed up even in there. And sometime you might get a sore throat and even lose your voice. Okay. But look what comes out. You'll be getting mucus out. No question about it. I'm writing to get very aggressive, but need some guidance figuring out what to do. Well, I think you get on an herbal regimen, get your kidneys, get your lymphatics, then alongside that, stay focused. You don't have to go crazy with that. But go after your lymph system. Go after your bowels. Do the Fab 4 or whatever. Do 2 kidneys, 2 lymphatics. But then do just what you're doing. Put yourself on a grape fast for 30, 40 days. Then put yourself on a lemon juice for 10, 15, whatever you can do. Keep playing that role you're doing. Do that. You don't have to go to dry fast. But when you can't dry fast, problem. And this is Yann, Y-A-N-N. Hi, I eat plenty of bananas plus green, approximately 4,000 calories to 4,700 calories daily. And 2 hours after my meal. My blood ketone is still at 0.1. I tested my meter with a healthy person who eats plenty of calories too, and he had obtained 0. Is it a sign? Ketone trace 2 hours post-meal. I don't have enough calories? Nope, not at all. But, you might look at your liver gallbladder. You might do a little time cleaning your liver gallbladder out, cleaning up your bowels, getting your adrenals up and your kidneys filtering. I'd say that you're having way too many calories. My own self. I think that's way too many calories. 4,000 calories, that's a lot of food you're eating. So I don't know. I think you're eating way too many calories for myself. I think the latest research and even Fox News exposed this research here about 6 months ago that our initial thought on calories is way too high. So I don't know. You hear all this kind of crap like that. I don't live in the world of calories at all, man. I really don't. I live on intuitiveness, on your own hunger. I feel like you should have smaller meals more often in the day. I've observed primates for a lot of years now, and I can just add in myself and, tens of thousands that for sure, I'm well over 150, 200,000, I think. So I observe people like that, and I can tell you that, and a good example was Hilda here. She has worked so hard, now she's putting on weight on the same diet that took it off. And remember I told you guys, if you hang in there, and your focus is lymph, and you're opening that malabsorptive door, you're moving that lymph in the gut wall, you're going to round this bend one day. You guys that are real thin, you're going to round this bend one day, and when absorption and digestion takes place, by then you're fixing your endocrine glands, which is utilization. So now you fix digestion, absorption, utilization, and you've been doing it through the door of elimination. So all these doors are open now, and you'll start noticing muscle coming back on you on the same diet that took it off, and it's not a high-calorie diet at all. And Hilda's getting her butt diet and everything else. And that is, when I see that, it's like a lady's been coming in here, and I just love this lady. She's in her 80s, and she's alone, and her family's up north, and she's been keeping herself well. And she's in her mid to upper 80s, keeping herself well on herbs and diet. And I looked at her this morning and I said, your hair's turning dark again. I see it. Under her hair, her original color's coming back, and she's got a streak here that her hair's all dark again, or getting dark again. And I told Drew, you haven't been watching that? I always see that. And so I can tell if your skin is toned, if your hair's turned color, I can watch all that. It's just, you just get observing people. And so you'll start watching for that now. But you can tell. And so she's been with upper circulation. And now, of course, when you start to see your hair color coming back, you start to see your skin toning, and you're 85 years old. Yeah, baby. That's what it's about. How long could we live as superhumans? So, I don't know what to say. I just say I wouldn't worry about it. I'd say get myself on a good diet here. I think you look like you're on a pretty good diet, but you're pumping a lot of calories. So I don't know how to answer that, Yann. I could just say, just keep detoxing that body out, but I'm going to direct you to your liver gallbladder a little bit there. By cleaning up the bowels, cleaning up the liver gallbladder, getting your kidneys to filter, getting the adrenals up, everything then gets into a balance. If you're overweight, all of that. So ketones, everything just balances out that way. So I would. I mean, we have ketones that elevate when you're breaking down fat too much. My name is Lori, and I'm a new fan. Yee-hoo! Thank you, honey. I got turned on to fruitarianism over a year ago. Good girl. And although I'm not a fruitarian right now, but you know what? Even if we're not a perfect fruitarian, at least that's our thinking. That's where we're putting ourselves. So whether you have a perfect fruitarian, who cares about stuff like that? I mean, these are people in the intellectual mind. Oh, you're not all fruitarian. You're like, oh, please. So you have a salad once in a while. It's the consciousness that you get. And that's the key. Because the fruits and the berries, that's where all the nutrition, that's where all the power is. Most animals, we had a fun conversation yesterday about that because a lot of us have had horses. And poor Joseph. I think I called Joseph George in the last video. I hope not. But Joseph, the white, beautiful, was he a stallion? Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. That freaks me out. Grass fever, that freaks me right out. No, man, that's sad. Oh well. Life is. We're here. And that's why you get yourself awake. because you're only here on this planet, for this rock, for a short period of time, and then you continue on with a long adventure. Get yourself awake, and that adventure will change dramatically. To the good side, by the way, to the good side. I have been eating mostly raw with only occasional quinoa, potatoes, pasta, and rice. Sounds like a little Candida going on, honey. Those are all the foods you crave when you have high Candida problems. For a year and a half, no dairy, no meat. Yeah! Lori, congratulations, 5 gold stars to date. For 8 months now, my diet has been consistent. Mixed berry, banana smoothies. I love that. In the morning, organic salads in the afternoon, and either fruit or warm meal of organic potatoes, quinoa, vegan pizza in the evening, and very little overt fats. I eat lots of organic fruit throughout the day, and I'm not losing weight, so I know I am getting plenty of calories. Yeah, and it's not just about the calories. You're getting absorption then, because it really isn't about calories. You can take someone, let's say you're a long distance runner, you probably can run more on a fast than you can chucking your body full of carbs. I'm telling you, you notice that when you're water fasting, you seem to have more endurance, you seem to have more everything. Because people are relating to chemistry that they're putting in right in the moment. Your body's already a well-oiled universe inside. What you put in at any given time has minimal effect on the total machine that's miles of fluids, miles of cells. I mean, you're an ongoing machine. And we went back to looking at the fertilized egg and the fact that there's no connection to the mother for a while. How do you have growth within a fertilized egg? So the energetic consciousness that flows through all life. Quantum physics calls it energy and intelligence. Christianity, spirit. Hindus have a different names, from prana, the life force, to whatever. There's all kinds of names. That the chi, there's all kinds of names we give that conscious force that is unseen. But you're unseen at this level. A soul. My issue is that through many things cleared up, although many things cleared up, some things got much worse. My hormonal issues are getting worse. My periods last for weeks. All right, honey. So I would get on the female reproductive formula, but I want you to think pituitary, get on your adrenals, get on to an herbal formula for the endocrine glands, or get on maybe a glandular for the pituitary for a short period of time. Now, the female reproductive formula is great for the pituitary. It's got pituitary herbs in there, or berries, chase tree, vitex. And help that with that pituitary problem. That's what I'm looking at here. Sometimes we have to use the herbs to bring ourselves into balance. The foods just not at the genetic print they used to be. So they don't have the power they used to have. But you should have a lot of berries in your diet, because all the berries are glandulars. So that's what I would take off and do. And use some herbs and bring use the endocrine gland formula. Bring my glands into a state of health and balance. Does mean that you probably still need some work on your body in terms of detoxification. Pituitary suggestive of transverse bowel problems, so you want to work on your GI tract for a while. GI brooms, stomach and bowel formulas, lymphatic capsules, all those things help to clean up the GI tract. Opening the kidneys help to clean up what's inside the GI tract, which is your cells and 2 fluids. So, by opening your doors and cleaning all that, check your urine, make sure you're filtering, those sort of things. I am having recurring attacks of Candida because you're still not clean, you're loaded. And so you're doing some quinoa, potatoes, rice, and then that's why you're craving that. So I put myself on Parasite M for a while, get rid of the potatoes, the rice, and all that for now, dig a little deeper. Keep cleaning into that lymph system, which will then also clean the fungus out of the body. Keep bringing your adrenals up, which will correct any sugar metabolism problems you might have. Because when you have lower adrenal function, generally when you do the craving, the pastas and the rices and the potatoes, this is a Candida issue, of course, but these are starches. Even if quinoa is a more of an alkaline grain, still a starch, too much sugar. So as long as you're bringing in too much sugar in the body through your grains, and your potatoes and your rices and things, and you're not metabolizing those sugars with weak adrenals, you will always breed fungal problems. Always, because life uses fungus to ferment starches or any carbohydrate. Just part of the carbon chain, the breakdown, and all of that applies. Alcohol is just a stage. Fermentation breeds all the vinegar, alcohol. These are all stages of fermentation, stages of death. And people say, well, we need to eat those stages of death to be healthy. Okay, I don't think that. I get severe hangovers. Feels like the worst hangover ever, except I'm not drinking and it lasts for 2 days at a time. I don't like that. That's suggestive if you've got a lot of lymph. You got stiff necks, tight shoulders. It's suggestive you've got a lot of lymph going on in your head here, and particularly the cerebellum, where you can get that kind of thing. You really need to detoxify yourself a lot more. Do the neural lymphatics down your back. Get your kidneys filtering. Get your adrenals up. Get it on some type of endocrine gland. I'll probably do the female reproductive for pull your body back into a state of health, which means a state of balance. And because you can't dictate a state of balance, because there's no way, no physician can, because there's too many variables in an individual. An individual is a soul hooked with big mental, emotional, and physical bodies. How are you going to bring a huge being that has had lifetimes of journeys and a physical body that has had lifetimes of genetics crammed into thinking of cells, how are you going to fix all that? So that's why I'm saying it's up to you as a soul to grab a hold of your bodies and start cleaning them up. Shut the mind up. Shut the desires up. Get into that physical body. Clean out all the obstructions and acids and rebuild it. That's all you can do, honey. And that's just what you've got to dig deeper. You haven't got into your body enough yet. And I don't like what you're saying about the hangover feeling. Because your pituitary's off with your periods. Well, this is all stuff going on in your head. I don't like that. So you really want to get your kidneys filtering. Work on those neural lymphatics down your back and get all this lymph cleaning out of yourself, sweetheart. This is a sign of high acidosis and stuff like this. And you don't want to break down any more central or autonomic. Usually after a meal of bananas or oranges, and this could also be suggestive of, again, blood sugar problems. You could be going into hyper or hypoglycemia from this. That's why you want to stay away from, with a suggestion of the more I read with you, I would suggest you ditch the quinoa, potatoes, pasta, and rice. Because this could take you more into either a hypoglycemic or a pre-diabetic condition, not using the word as a disease, but in other words, higher blood sugars or lower blood sugars. Probably in your case, higher. So you have to be careful here. You have to be careful in sugar metabolism. Definitely get on your adrenals and focus on those because that's cortisol. And that could be a problem with cholesterol with you coming too. I listened to advice telling me to eat garlic and spiced teas to clear the Candida overgrowth. No, I wouldn't. Although I admit it helps the symptoms, it's not fixing the main. I get into herbs. Garlic is not going to clean all the Candida out of you. Get into Parasite M. But I'll tell you this. You got to start metabolizing your sugars because you're going to naturally call the wild in. If you're on complex sugars, even though it's not much, it's enough to keep calling the people in. And it does suggest that it's lending itself, that you're not having good sugar metabolism. So watch this. You might want to get you a little blood sugar tester and test your blood sugars or have someone do it for yourself when you get that feeling, because that's concernful. And so you want to get yourself into balance. And if you need to pull away from those fruits that make you feel that way, okay. Slip back to the vegetables, but still use the herbs to help you detox a little more aggressive, and bring your endocrine glands into a state of health. How you do that is move the lymph within that gland, and to enhance that gland with herbs or glandulars. Those are the only two ways I know how you get into tissue and affect a change, a positive change. Is move that sluggish lymph, which is creating inflammation around the cell or in the cell, hopefully not, and enhancing the function of the cell through herbs. Those are the only two things you can really do in life to get yourself to well, Bill. because that's all that's there. I figured after 8 months of eating the cleanest I have ever eaten, I should be feeling better, not worse. Depends if you've been using herbs. If you've just been doing diet alone is good, but this is why you see me as an herbalist. Because that's where I was going. I used to be a total believer that your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. And this is true, because if you look at herbs, they're considered foods in this country, not medicinos. So foods are vital. But right herbs are vital for us. In my opinion, I think this is why it's essential to focus on herbs and the use of herbs. I love them. They make all the difference in the world. And anybody who thinks they're toxic to you just has been smoking something in the back room, and not listening, unaware, afraid, scared of life, things like that. Because there are some gnarly herbs, but nobody uses those much. But being smart about herbs, that's important. I've always said, if anybody wants to become a healer, take you a few courses. Most of them are distance learning. They don't take long. Herbology's fun. The Dominion School in Canada is really a good school. You got all levels you can achieve with them. And then Dr. Christopher has a good school. I like his coursework. And so you've got several. Mary Gladstar's got a good course. I like her coursework. So you got several places that are very good. I think even Michael Terra has an East-West. I think he has a course that you can take. That would be a good course. And everybody take 2 or 3 of them. Get a sense from several schools. There's the Australian Herbal College. There's all kinds of places out there. Get a sense, and always take a European course or two, because the Europeans have been doing this longer than we have. And that's a flooded in from India and other places. So get a broad range understanding, because there's still a lot of crap that's not true, and a lot of propaganda still in herbology that isn't true, that follows things like lobelia, licorice and comfrey, things that are bull crap, propaganda crap, and it's just not true. But they follow them because you have these people that write herb books that are just, they go out, they want to write a book, they research herbs from all the other books, and then they write their own book without any use of them themselves. If you want, any medical doctor the same way, you want to give an opinion on an herb or herbs, then you better have years of experience with them. Because we're coming down on people that are making broad statements about things that have no experience or education with them. And that's the saddest thing you have. Like a client was just talking about a client that had a real serious issue. And they're using the herbs to keep the inflammation out. The doc says, I want you off of those. But when I go off of them, doc, this thing, all the inflammation comes roaring back. I have extreme pain. I start to see decay of the tissue. But when I'm on the herbs, all the gangrene stays out. Everything is rebuilding. And, maybe you better stay on them. That was what one medical doctor just told one client. Why, after feeling energized and better, would I suddenly be getting yeast infections, constant bleeding, and really bad Candida attacks? Well, a couple things. One, you have just scratched the surface probably. 2, you're probably full of Candida. You're still eating foods that promote Candida growth, and the adrenals. And I can tell with everything you're saying, your lymph system needs to be worked on quite a bit. And your adrenals, your endocrine glands. This sugar metabolism, all this stuff is something you want to look at, sweetheart, to be honest with you. Pituitary's off. Again, suggested that the colon, the bowels are off, and you just have to keep working. That's the value. Let me tell you guys, the value of iridology. Love that little science. It's incredible. I don't care what anybody else says about it. Let them go play and tear it up. Who cares? I can tell you, it's a great little tool, and that's what I would do, Laura, is to get a picture of your eyes and take a look at what you're up against, lymphatically speaking. Look at your bowels, look at your pituitary, because I've given you all enough education on the YouTube here on how to read eyes that you should be able to look at your eyes and do that. Even though these are other people's eyes we're going over, it's still relative. That information helps you to look at your eyes and see how you compare to all the other eyes that we're doing. And it just really will help you to see, because then there's no guesswork. Because when you're having period problems as a female, you either have ovaries or pituitary. And 9 times out of 10, the problem isn't ovarian, the problem is pituitary. So, and then if you have a pituitary problem, I can tell you, you can always go to the transverse colon and find problems with that. Look at your eye pictures. And so this is why you're in a systemic cleanse, a systemic rebuilding, because you can't just go fix one thing, because it all is involved systemically, lymphatically, vascularly. So really important to get in there, Lori, and fix yourself up, get your eyes, take a look at that. BTW, the Candida attacks are so bad, my vision is very blurry and I can't drive. I'm a caregiver and I have kids. Well, the other concern here, yes, come on in, honey. Got a little guest going to help me here. Thank you, Drewski. That's Ralsky. I think you all know Marcy here. Hey, Drew, could you make sure this camera is grabbing us both here?
It does perfectly.
He just wants to get closer.
Yeah. Heck yeah. You can't find too many women like you. Wrestle alligator, wrestle sharks, wrestle snakes. I mean, I'm talking about a case. This is Laura who wrote in, and she did a fruitarian type thing. She did raw for a little while, but she does do the quinoa, potatoes, pastas, and rice occasionally. Heavy candida, but I think she has blood sugar problems. I'm just kind of finishing up on this one, so hang tight. She said, I am just confused why after all this time I would be feeling bad after eating mostly fruit. Well, I think really, honey, you have to take a look and get deeper use the herbs to get the glands into balance. You're bleeding too heavily, again, back to the pituitary or ovaries. So you're going to make things healthy in the body, because that's all you can do. You can't just say, all right. I mean, you can take a female reproductive, you can take a pituitary, you can balance out your steroids and hormones, it'll balance out your bleeding, blah, 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 blah. But I think you got a lot more going on here. And if you're still fighting heavy candida problems, suggest adrenals big time. And that's just what's going on with everybody. And much love to you, Lori, honey. And I told her to get her, saving to get a consult, hoping to be gifted with one from my birthday. Isn't that sweet? Well, Lori, listen, honey.
What a better gift.
Yeah.
Couldn't get a better gift.
Oh, man. But you know what? Save your money. I'll tell you, you got enough information, Lori, to save your money. You can send your eyes in here, but, I told her she could get on YouTube, look at her eyes, get a picture of her eyes, look at all that. We give them a lot of information. But take that money. I'd rather see you apply it to the herbs and apply it to a consultation. You can, if you're struggling with money that much, you got plenty of us around here that'll give you free advice. You spend it on your herbs and on the herbs that you need for specific things. And I would say go into the lymph, go into the kidneys, go into the adrenals, get yourself a female reproductive maybe for a month, and then shift to a pituitary glandular, twice a day. Also, I would do a stomach and bowel formula and really do the first detox kit. That'll deworm you and everything. It'll get your liver. It'll start opening your door. So the first detox kit, always essential. I recommend that to everybody. Mm-hmm. That way you get yourself dewormed. You get the liver opened up. You got your lymphatic starting. You got your kidneys. You got your GI tract. Got everything in there. And then see where you are with your money. You have to stay with just the Fab Four or whatever you have to stay with, but you see a huge difference when you use the herbs. Parasite M is one you're going to have to stay on for a while. But at the same time, try to get rid of the quinoa, potatoes, pasta, and all that. That's just your fungus caulking at you. And give yourself a deeper detox. If you cheat once in a while, okay, don't beat yourself up, Lori, but keep digging deep into your lymph system.
I like what Megan says here. She says, or she come across the statement, one day of deviating or cheating isn't going to reverse all the good that you've done any more than one day of dieting will make you skinny. Yeah,
exactly. So, exactly, and that's true, And you just dig in. Now, even to say...
Obviously, I've only done one day at a time. I got a ways to go.
Stop. You're always doing raw. The other thing is that give yourself time. And I've talked about that earlier in this video, that it could take you 1 to 2 years easy. But if you look at the scan of being on this rock for 60, 70, 80 years, a couple of years out of your life isn't bad to turn it totally around. Mm-hmm. And you'll live the rest of it in Wellville Station. And it just makes a difference. And if it takes you that, so what? change your consciousness. This is a new world. You're not opening a door just to play for a while and then shut it back and go back to the way you were. That's just not going to happen. Some people try to shut the door and walk backwards, and then they go and get their butt kicked. You can't do that. You can go back and visit once in a while, because that's called, what do we call that when we're a habit? The mind works in habits. And so we're habitually trained. It's a conditioned instrument. So while we break that, while we learn to become more awake and control the mind, and we break those past memories, look at this as you're opening the door to the light. You're opening this door to God, whatever name you give it. And you're opening this world to a new happy you. You're getting your joy back. You're getting rid of those things that obstruct you, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so look at this as a new world, not like, I do this for a while, I just didn't get it, darn it, what do I do next? Hit this as if it's a lifestyle, and it's the way you're going for a while in your life. This time if I got, get rid of that mental thing that I haven't done it enough, I've done it too much, blah, 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 and just take this on as if you're wearing your clothes for the day. But you're going to wear them for a little longer. And you just go into that. Use the herbs. Don't forget the herbs. And if you save up the money for the herbs, not for consultations. If you got money for that, okay, great. You got enough in here where you can get free. The videos are free. There's enough information to tell you what you got to do. And none of us would never not give you advice.
Yep.
So spend that money on the herbs and get on down the road, Lori. Okay. Let's see. This is from Jamesina? Jamesina?
You get your glasses
too, huh? What the hell is it around here?
Yeah, I think that's
Jamesina,
it.
Yeah. Hello, I am a new YouTube subscriber. Thank you. I have suffered from chronic fatigue for 2 decades. Holy crap. I am now experiencing with raw fruits. I have a simple question which is related to citrus fruits. Both my mother and I get migraines from eating those. No kidding. Well, I wouldn't eat them then. I don't know what it is, I can't tell you. But, I don't know if you're so acidic that anything that's a little additionally acidic will set you off. Generally headaches or spasms. Maybe you both have stomach issues, and when you get all that power in the stomach, it'll trip you into a migraine. That's possible. Hard to say. But I would stay away from them and move to the grapes and things like that and get yourself cleaned out, and then keep trying again to go back. Getting the most ripest citruses you can. Let's see, both. I love the taste and would love to know your ideas on why I might experience this with fruits in it. You have any stomach problems? That'd be the first thing that would come into stomach. I don't know what's in them that could cause that, to be honest with you, but everybody's always says
it could be a healing crisis.
Could be a healing crisis. It could be a spastic problem in the stomach. I mean, there's all kinds of, but it's enough to say that probably it deals with the GI tract. Mm-hmm. But keep working yourself back to well, Bill. Fixing yourself up, cleaning your GI tract, strengthening. And whenever you can visit them, you visit them. And then I'm sure after a while you won't have any headaches with that. Mm-hmm. I've never heard of someone sustaining long headaches or anything with that. But I've heard many people having different fruits or something cause different symptoms to them. And then maybe change where you're getting them from. I don't know. Maybe it's the brand or whatever. I don't know. Maybe they're mutated from GMOs. But it's enough to say that it probably is a GI tract stomach problem. And maybe it's some other chemical. But I'd avoid them and keep working myself on it. Writing from the UK, Mrs. Yeah, sweetheart, that's all I can tell you. Just keep cleaning myself out. Keep working toward being able to handle them, though. I would. But I think of more of a GI tract sort of thing going on there. It could be thyroid.
Mm-hmm. I know that when I start a lemon fast, and anybody who's talked with me knows that I love the lemon fast, but the first several days I start it, I have headaches. And you get that lymphatic system moving. All this stuff moving up here can put pressure, too, which can cause headaches.
Yeah, that too. So. I did it when I initially started. Years ago, I would get headaches like that a little bit, but I knew it was my GI tract. Mm-hmm. And so, just like you said, another thing is fruits do get things moving. They are aggressive. There's no question about it. Mm-hmm. But that's okay. And here's one. Firstly, I would like to tell you what your last case study has done for me. Beforehand, I only felt confident to deal with minor or non-life-threatening conditions. After listening to your case study, though, I feel like I can tackle more difficult, yeah, baby, and serious conditions. Thank you. You know what? That's also why I did that. I don't want you guys to freak out when you're facing multiple problems in a person when you know that's a systemic problem and a person would have multiple problems. And all you have to do is remember simplicity. Don't get caught up in that like a medical doctor would, and just be peaceful and calm with them and detox them. Work on their glands, work on their bowels, just what you all know to be true. So let's read on. This sounds interesting. After listening to your case study, like the one I will share with you today. So my message is, keep up those case studies. Oh, we need to do that. Yes, and thank you. I also really appreciate your follow-up videos like the wrapping one, which give me further courage to carry out my actions. Thanks, honey. I appreciate this. Oh, this is John. Honey, John, thank you. Yeah, that's good. You know, I love these YouTubers. I mean, you guys, I'm proud of these. And John, proud of you. Love you, man.
If you ever encounter, I've had to do this multiple times. If you ever encounter someone coming to you and you all of a sudden feel overwhelmed, this is too much, I don't know what's going on, pull yourself back a little bit and just take yourself back to what you know. A cell and two fluids, logic coming into play, being simplistic with it. It can sound, any doctor can make anything sound big, any person can make anything sound big, but we know you always go back to the kidneys and the lymphatic. Those will play a hand in everything that you encounter. And if you get back to what you know, you'll work yourself through it. You'll help them work through it.
Well, I've been watching you for years, and the last year or so, and it's like cool stuff. I mean, I see that, you know, that I could tackle this any day. And then you show me, I'm going, that's just what I do. That's just what I do. And that's what you get, you know, and this is where you've gotten. You really, you now see that whole picture and boom, 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 boom. I mean, and John's seeing that picture, obviously. Let's read on, see what's going on here. I say courage because it takes a lot of courage for me to even mention to sick people how they can be regenerated by fruit, herbs, and spirituality. It shows you're a good man, John. Yeah. I mean, when you're a little reclusive, that's a mark of a spiritual person still. Generally, a good spiritual person will be outwardly aggressive. So, I mean, this just shows your beauty, man. I have had so much nasty treatment from people when I have tried to alkalize them with the truth, and I am now very private about my healing abilities. Yeah, me too. But you know what? I didn't let them stop me.
Yeah. Because
I'm not here for them. I'm here for God. So, I mean, I don't let anybody stop me that way. Yeah. You know, cut my body, cut my head off, throw us in jail, who cares? You know, we're here for our higher selves, for us. Not that higher, we are the, shift your attention to you as the higher being, non-physical being. You're not a physical being, you're only using a physical body. And now very private about my feeling and have to select people very carefully. So keep up the support. Oh, thanks, man. And I will show my appreciation by healing as many people. Yeah. Well, you know what? You don't want to try to heal someone who doesn't want it.
Exactly.
And we're the same way here. If, you know, me and her, we've done this all, and we can see people who are doing or not doing. And we, you know, that's our job as a healer, to educate, but to put our arm around them and go, you know what? You can do this. And your job is to really be their cheerleader. You know, because once they get it, and if we teach simplistically, they'll get it. Hard not to get this, right?
Exactly.
Because it's truth, and it's simplistic. So it's hard for no one not to get it. And if they don't, you still planted some good Johnny Appleseeds.
Exactly. They may come back to you the second time to hear it again. They may come back to you a third time. You don't know what time it's going to take for them to finally get it and finally catch. So don't get frustrated with them. Love them through it.
Yep. And you're a cheerleader. So, you know, give them support that they can do this. I don't beat anybody up. And I kind of look at them with an eye because they're the ones that suffers. They're the ones suffering. And we all know it because when we cheat, we suffer. Yeah, so everybody, but that's what makes us all brothers and sisters, if you will, or all the one, is because we all go through the same things.
And truth is a tug of war against ourselves. We don't like hearing it, but we're drawn to it. And so you're constantly in that tug of war. Eventually they're going to come back because they know truth. People recognize it when they hear it, even if it takes a few times.
Yeah. And that's okay. So you give them the best you can. I think the biggest thing is don't put that information out like you're the knower. Here it is, the master to the Chila. I give you my knowledge or what I know. If you want too much, sometimes people pull away from that. And then you lose yourself because you wanted to help them. And there's that part that, remember I told you before that your desires bind you to the object of your desires. So if you want someone well, you just bonded yourself to that person and their problems, meaning you brought that person and their problems into your consciousness. No. Because you'll get hurt, you'll get disappointed. And this is the same thing with mates, this is the same thing with anybody. Don't let anybody into your consciousness that can rip you and tear you off of your center and take you apart emotionally or any other way. Close that door. That doesn't mean you don't love somebody,
exactly.
But you're not letting that individual, no matter whether it's a client or a loved one, into your space, into your private chamber where only you and God sit. So be careful with that. And just, this is wisdom. John, you've learned a lot. And you're giving them this love. This also sets you into a knowingness position and an authoritative position because you've done it on yourself. I know what works. I've done it on myself. And if it works with me, it works with her, it works with everyone else because we're all part of the same species. Blood types, throw it in the wastebasket. Exactly. We're a species. You don't see that in any other species. Horses don't say, hey, I'm a different blood type. You can't be eating that grass over there. Wrong kind. Go over there. Eat those. You don't hear that kind of crap anywhere. It's all just more crap. We're a species. What's good for you is good for me. You might be genetically compromised in an area I'm not, and me an area you're not. And those things do determine how well I deal with fruits, how well I deal with proteins and things like that. But high protein diet affects everybody on this planet the same. Go back to the Eskimos. They only used to live 40-some years. High protein diet. Anywhere you see a high protein culture, their lifespan has always been short. Look at the islanders, their lifespans have always been long. This is just how you look at diets and the relationship of longevity. Jensen spent volumes writing about it and couldn't attain it himself because he was eating wrong. So let's see what else we got going here. So good, thanks. My question is about post-chemo care after my friend had a tumor on her left breast. Prior to this, she had long-term Candida, and she was just in the process of help. I was just in the process of helping her. When the tumor was discovered, sadly, she panicked. That's the problem. We panic. And sometimes our panic terminates our life in this lifetime. Well, next life you'll know better. Maybe. They say you spin until you get it right. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. That'd be a bitch. Holy crap. Nice to see you again. Holy moly. All right, so she panicked and went with the white coats. And now she has asked for my help at last. Thank God. Tell this girl she needs to get her butt going. I am glad of this because I know that a lymphatic tumor will just reappear. You're right. And this is what I love about John. All you YouTubers, you're getting it. Yeah. They're listening. They're applying. And John is right. This tumor will come right back some other place. You're right on, John. And that's what these people are not told. That's what these people don't get. Is go ahead and go through all this chemo and all this radiation because you chose that path. You now damage more cells. You never fix why you had the tumor in the first place. You never fixed why the tumor was there. You just removed the effect, the tumor. Now you're going to grow another one because the cause is still there, and that's what people don't get. Medical doctors never straighten up or cure the cause of anything because they don't even know what the cause is. They're too busy focusing on effects. And if you're trying to find the cause through the effect, we can. They can't seem to do that.
Story I heard this morning, a woman had breast cancer. Did chemo radiation. The doctor scared her into the chemo and radiation. Took care of it. Breast cancer is gone for 1.5 years. Goes in for a checkup just to be sure. Liver cancer.
See? Yep.
Spread to the liver.
There you go.
She did chemo and radiation again. Again. It left the liver 6 months later. It's now skin cancer, and they say it's the most aggressive kind, and they've told her there is no cure and there is no hope. So for the last 2 years, they've been moving it around in her body till it's to the point now where it is supposedly,
yeah. And that's why she now has to stop and go major focus, or she's done.
Yeah.
Because then it'll just stop. I mean, now she has, because of the chemo, she had systemic acidosis then.
This pattern, how can people not see this pattern?
Yeah. Well, because as practitioners, we see it constantly because it's constantly coming to us. They're one person.
Yeah.
So they're one person and their medical doctor who they trust because they have white clothes on.
Yeah.
And so they trust a white coat.
Should we get white clothes?
I'm thinking we should have
No,
white.
not white. We don't want it. No,
no white.
Let's go with a different color.
Yeah, I can't have white.
Purple?
Well, there's the I Am Faith that has purple and gold as their colors and, godly colors.
I was thinking girls look good in purple.
Well, I like purple. I wouldn't wear it.
Anyway.
I like green.
Yeah.
All right. So, lymphatic tumor will reappear, you're so right, John, somewhere, sooner or later. In short, raw food transition. Wait a minute. In short, I've got the food side under wraps, a sub-acid fruit diet after a general raw food transition. I want to get the herbal side right, though, and I thought a combination of lymph, endocrine gland, bowel, and parasite for the Candida formulas. Does this sound about right, and which ones would you recommend? Absolutely, John. Love you, man. Absolutely. I keep saying, keep this, look at our herbal protocol, 14-week protocol. The ones we have that I don't do personally for you. And you'll see the main basic thrust that Marcia and I have. It is a thrust where we use 2 lymphatics. We're talking about one of the cases this morning of this liver cancer, and it's just hard to come out of him. He's doing raw, he's doing fasting, but it just won't come out. Our concern, and I think I brought that up to you this morning, was lymph nodes being deteriorated. Some things are really hard when you have that we can't see a deterioration of a lymph area or something where there's no flow. That's serious.
Right.
So this is just, and all of you, just think about this. I would do the capsule side, stomach and bowel, whichever one moves you. If you move good, do stomach and bowel number 1. If you're having a little sluggish bowel movement, do stomach and bowel number 2. If you miss a day or 2, do number 3. If you miss 4 or 5 days, do number 4 or 5, and so forth and so forth. With that said, I would do the GI broom when I can tolerate it. I would do lymphatic, start out with 1, but move yourself up to 5. I would also do a kidney capsule. Start out with kidney number 1. I do the capsules.
If you're doing lymph node 5, I would actually be on at least 2 kidneys.
Yeah, you definitely want to be on 2 kidneys if you're doing lymphatic 5. But you want to be on 2 kidneys anyway until you're filtering. At least 2 kidneys till you're filtering.
Absolutely.
So I would add the kidney number 1, 2-3 times a day is adequate with the capsules. Now with the tinctures, I'm going to go with another kidney formula, either kidney 2 or 1 or whatever liquid. I'm going to go to a lymph node formula, especially a post-cancer case. So I'm going to do lymph node 2, moving myself up to lymph node 5. Yep. I'd be careful about doing lymphatic 5 and lymph node 5 at the same time. That's all your blood, poke, chaparral herbs. Real strong.
And if you do it, like I do have, like the one we just talked about, we did it. Yeah. But we halved the dose.
We have the lymph node 5, and we up the kidneys.
Yep.
So the kidneys have to be filtering, because if you're pulling lymph aggressively into kidneys that are blocked, you're going to feel like you went down on your knees with a UTI, because you're pushing acids into an already blocked area. That's why it's so important to kind of balance that out. A little art going on there about watching filtration and swelling in the body. If the feet swell, then back up off the lymphatics, increase the kidneys, that sort of thing. And that's how I would go. And what other tincture? We parasite in for the Candida, definitely. I would definitely, myself, I'm always using an adrenal glandular. And the blood pressures are so low, I use the 400 milligrams basically now. And we do 1-3 times a day to start. If you're real low blood pressure, go 2-3 times a day. That's what I would do minimally. And then we get into upper circs and brain and nerves. I do the liver gallbladder formula for a couple months because that'll reach to the pancreas, that'll open that door.
And it'll also deal with all the chemo or some of the chemo and radiation damage. The liver has to process that.
Good point. Matter of fact, if you've had chemo, you've got brought up a good thing. You might want to stay on liver gallbladder for 2 months if you've been on chemo.
Yeah.
And that's how I would go. Shifting to an all raw food diet, number one, and moving toward that grape fast you're going to put her on, right? All right. Good afternoon. Yep, it's afternoon. This is Carmen. Good afternoon, Dr. Morse. I am anemic and I am a vegan. Let's go. We just talked about this morning about anemia related to adrenal glands, and oh no, that was with Gen B. How that relates to iron and hemoglobin hematocrit. Again, you're going to clean up the liver. You're going to clean up the spleen. Don't forget the spleen. And you're going to get into the adrenal glands. That's where you address anemia. But you're also going to get the kidneys filtering, you're going to get the bowels cleaned up. You see what I'm saying? You're going to go down that whole road because you want to take a systemic approach to any problem that you have. Because when you just like you say, you can't just go to one area and go, you're going to fix the liver and deal with anemia.
Right.
No, because the adrenals deals with iron metabolism and the spleen cleans the blood and refurbishes red blood cells. So you see why we're going after all these areas. And the deeper you clean, you're going to end up cleaning your bone marrow. So you see, all these things are important to good healthy blood, good hemoglobin hematocrits, good liver function, good utilization of nutrients.
That's why we don't ever go after a problem, because more than one thing is involved.
Yep.
I'm type 1 diabetic, but I have my kidneys, my liver, my pancreas, and my adrenals are all involved in that whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can't just throw things at the pancreas. In fact, if you're type 1 diabetic, a lot of people are like, well, you've been doing this a while, you're still on insulin. I was on insulin for 37 years. I have a lot of repairing of the pancreas to do. My adrenals are way down. I've got to build those up. Your adrenals, every day, your adrenals are in a tug of war because you're building them up. But if you're an emotional or under stress or going through a trauma, every day that you're going through that, you're pulling them up, you're bringing them down, you're pulling them up, you're bringing them down. I'd rather work on a liver than an adrenal.
Well, here's the other thing she's battling. Been on insulin 35 years. Let me put you on cortisol for 35 years and see you come off of it. You know what I'm saying? What being 35 years on a hormone will do to the beta cells is what doing 35 years on cortisol does to the adrenals. Take a look at Jerry Lewis if you want to see what extended steroid use looks like.
Yeah.
It looks like I can't breathe hardly and I can't remember my name.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of thing that can lead to this, and that's what she's battling. And all you guys have been on insulin, you're battling now because the pancreas is an estrogen gland, meaning that it's just like all the endocrine glands. You take it, they quit making it. And so on 35 years, what the medical doctor didn't tell her was that she's not going to have good beta cell production of insulin anymore because she's on it. Yep. So she's playing this tear like a lot of our clients are.
Yep.
And it's just like someone a Parkinson's case on years of sentiment. Look at Michael J. Fox. You get into these antispasmodics chemical, and you might as well be on cocaine, man. So when you're going to detox someone like this, just remember it could be a while.
It's going to be a while.
And a game of getting off of insulin at the same time, keeping blood sugar at the same time, dealing in beta cells.
Yep.
Okay, she's anemic. She just recently had a D&C procedure. So the second thing I would do is I would take the Heal All tea and I would take 2 weeks of my life and I would douche. The second thing I would do is I'd be getting my adrenals up and my kidneys filtering because it shows that she's having atypical cells vaginally probably, which means her lymph system in the vaginal walls was backed up, which means that her kidneys are not filtering, which means that she could be popping ovarian cysts, uterine fibroids, fibrocystic or endometrial. All these things are all wrapped in this sort of thing because of heavy. So here's another lady with heavy periods. Before I get on the female reproductive, that'll bring that into balance. But be thinking of the last case we read, and we've had 2 cases now relating to the pituitary here because she has heavy periods. So you definitely, and I also suggest that we have a formula called bleeding.
Yes.
And that form, when you have heavy bleeding as a female, it's going to pull you into anemia. You want to take that bleeding formula to curb excessive bleeding. At the same time, fix that pituitary. I do the female reproductive, and if that didn't do it after about a month or so, then I would jump right to the pituitary. But that generally does that. But you need to bring your kidneys in line. This is just telling us she's not filtering lymphatically. She's got adrenals are down. It's affecting the reproductive organs. Blah 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 blah. What else? Say you want, the GYN guy wants to remove her organs. Well, we could. That would probably handle the problem. Yes. And the pituitary would still be problematic. You know, the GYN doctor said that either surgery or put a device called Mirena or birth control machine. Oh, give me a break. I don't want to do any of those. Thank you, sweetheart. No. I have my back with a minor scoliosis. Aha! Okay. So now we're more evidence. We're up here. We got parathyroid. Probably either pituitary or parathyroid weakness itself. So I get on the pituitary glandular for a bottle, and I'd probably do my parathyroid with it, with some kelp. You want to deal with this now, honey, because this is getting more problems. Your back will straighten back up, but you got to get your kidneys filtering, because this is two problems. This is a parathyroid weakness where you're losing calcium and not putting it back, and this is a kidney that is blocking your lymph system, which is causing calcium to be pulled out. And which I am getting physical therapy for. You can have physical therapy to hell freezes over, but this is a chemical issue, and you've got to deal with it from this side. So you just can't have physical therapy, it'll pull it back straight. You want to deal right with why are you giving scoliosis, which is a curvature of the spine. What's making it weak and what's pulling it? Well, that shows you the bilateralness of the kidneys and each side of your back. I'd do these neurolymphatic points. I'd be working on those every night. And I'd really be going after health. Just tackle health. Just what we've been talking about here on the site here is really tackle health.
One thing I would really encourage you to do, the neurolymphatic massage is absolutely amazing. Does more for people than I've seen in any type of massage. And so if you do have a massage therapist, really encourage them to learn it. It doesn't take long to learn, to get certified in doing it, and encourage, if we across the board are encouraging people to learn that, it's going to be very effective.
Absolutely. She only works part-time. She had difficulty in buying the herbs because her money goes for food. You know, well, I can say is, Carmen, call in and get a hold of Brenda or one of them, and she'll go back and see what she can put together for you, okay, honey?
But with some of these issues, even if all you can do is the heal all tea, drink it and douche with it.
Absolutely. And that's a good take. If anything, get the tea. I'm sure we've got some things back there we can help you with the glands and things like this, because you have to fix it. You have to fix yourself.
Add kelp into your grocery list and eat the kelp if you can't buy the supplements.
So she has to die for food and bags at the markets, throws away. I want to get my health back. I have a juicer, and I too grow wheatgrass. Forget wheatgrass. Get yourself grapes and things like this, honey. And I cannot afford it. I would like your opinion. I would not take prescription medicine for any of my health problems. Sweetheart, call Brenda and have her help you with some things. And I'm going to have Chris give this. Okay, and then see what we can do to help you out of that one. But all those things that I'm talking about, the things you got to do to stop this. And that's the sad thing that I see here, is that you have so many people struggling to make it. You got some wild maniac creating some kind of healthcare system in America that's going to send everybody to Hellville. I mean, this is so bad that it's not anybody with a mind at all can see what's going to happen to healthcare in this country and what's going to happen. It's already happened in Europe. It's going to be worse here. You know, and there's going to be a lot more poverty going on here, and it makes me want to throw up.
And then what if you get yourself in a situation where you've got to go to multiple doctors, but those multiple doctors don't agree with each other, and they're arguing back and forth? You're caught in the midst of that.
It's crazy, and it's a sad thing, because here's a case where there's no way she can afford it because she's going to go on Medicaid. The problem is there's nothing there that'll help her.
Exactly.
There's nothing in the medical community that's going to help her. She needs this side. So go call Brenda and see what you can do with that, honey. That's all I can tell you. But this is the focus you need to do to get yourself well. And we love you and hope that everything turns around for you. And anybody who wants to help her, feel free to help her there. But we will, we'll see what we got back there. We do have, people turn in things once in a while. We get things broken once in a while, blah, 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 blah. And so we do the best we can. So this is a good case to help here. So.
And if anybody ever comes across a doctor that says, there's nothing I can do for you, or there's no cure, or there's no hope, that statement needs to be amended. First of all, I would run as far away from that doctor as I could. But second of all, there's nothing that they know of. It should never be that there's nothing. It's nothing that they know of.
But they don't like to put that little last thing on there. So why don't you try someone else?
Because they've been through so many years and they have this knowledge, and that is a vulnerability if they admit that they don't know something.
I'll stick another thing on there. They've had years of ego enhancing. And if you're a medical doctor, you get free donuts at your local. That's a counselor. That was bad.
I do have a question for you, Robert.
No. Oh, what?
If two vegetarians are arguing,
okay,
can they still have a beef with each other?
No.
Okay.
For the last time, no.
We'll rewind and we'll remove that
joke. This is Krysta, again, the girl who did the 5-month grape fast. I write to you now very upset because ever since the winter started here in December, I've completely fallen from the raw diet. The fruit quality here in Boston is horrible because of the winter. I don't know what to do. I've lost control. I've been eating horribly for almost 2 months now, and I can't seem to regain focus. Okay, Kristen, and relax, honey. Wintertime is tough on you because you actually are battling the elements. Because we really should eat from the location we live in. I'm a firm believer that, our food should be local. Can't do it in a planet like this where the species has migrated to areas that are out of harmony with their physiology, and now they're stuck in a more omnivorish thinking. So you have to first get rid of the meat thinking, the protein thinking, and things like this. Going to keep warm with steamed vegetables, soups, or hot teas. Sweet potatoes, something like that. Try to pull yourself back to at least 80% raw, 20% cooked through the winter if you can. Do your very best. If you're hurting, try to use herbs or something like that. If you're hurting real bad, lock yourself in your house and go on a fast or something. So you do your very best. The problem with Boston, now Kathy's on her way down and should be here from Boston. Have you ever met Kathy? Sweet girl. Lady, woman. Do your best. I'm bitching here. We're in a nice sunny area, but the food sucks. So we're all trying to scramble to find good food. That's why I'm jealous of Yaz in Thailand, you guys in Costa Rica, you guys that have access to great fruit. We're all jealous of you because this is where you get well at. And trying to get well in the dead of winter in Boston, Massachusetts is a bit of a trip because it's so alkaline. But it is a good trigger to detoxify a lot of people. And notice, cold season and flu season's up. 2 kids have already died and da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, you ever relate cold with alkaline, with detox, with cold and flu-like symptoms?
Yes.
Funny.
Although there's one thing I don't think I do. I'd have a hard time just to kick up my detox moving back to a cold winter state just to kick up the detox. You could, because that's what I like to do. If I feel like I really need to get this mucus out of me and stuff, get out in the cold, baby. Let's go to the North Pole. Let's get a detox group together for the North Pole.
You don't have to go to the North Pole because it was colder up north in Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Wisconsin. Minnesota than it was in the South Pole.
Yeah.
The penguins were moving up to Indiana because it wasn't cold enough in the South Pole. That's scary. Oh my God.
The snowmen were hitchhiking to Florida.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now listen. Krysta, relax, sweetheart. Just relax. Pull yourself. Let all the YouTubers put their arms around you. And just relax. Put yourself on more raw. You know, maybe take a parasite in, clean the fungus out of you so it helps to curb the desires, you know, and just pull yourself into balance. It's okay. Maybe you needed to go out that way for a little bit. That's okay. Live in the now. What you do yesterday, gone, you know, and live in that way. Don't carry what you did yesterday to your now. Because that's what we tend to do. We carry our memories in our past. And then when you're detoxing, that has to come out. Because it's part of your obstruction to consciousness, to health, to everything else. So thoughts are as big as of obstruction as desires, as feelings, as acids. So all this is a major move on the human psyche to detox.
It's part of your journey.
Part of your journey. Part of your journey. And sometimes maybe that journey, maybe you went through emotional detox and you had to sit over there for a little while. Okay. Pull yourself back, sweetheart. That's all you got to do. Don't beat yourself up. My symptoms are coming back. Lower back pain, it's kidneys, of course, right? My monthly cycle has returned, which I have not had since last April. Well, that's not a bad thing, though, honey. That's not a bad thing. In fact, that is showing that you had some pituitary interruption of ovarian menses. So that's that could be a good thing, I think. You know, finish up the right way. My hair is falling out again. Well, that's not good. But, I mean, again, one of two ways. You're either getting more acidic and you're losing hair from that, or your hair's just falling out because it was old and broken down and you'll have new growth coming in behind it. I mean, that's a lot of that's what happens, especially with hair. It gets old and wants to die off and you get new growth behind it. I mean, you know, but you want to inspire upper circuit, brain and nerve if you got the funds to do that. If not, do whatever you can. Hot and cold showers to the head, massages to the head, work on the neurolymphatics, clean everything down below, get your kidneys filtering.
Yep.
You know, all those things that you guys know to be true. I'm starting to feel insecure about myself. That's the adrenals. It's also parathyroid, thyroid. Be careful about that. You don't have to feel insecure. You're a beautiful woman. I've gained a decent amount of weight back. I'm starting to have body odor again. Sounds like you've been eating on the animal side again. My vitiligo has not spread, but I fear for the worst if I continue. Well, that's true. Till you actually, can I use the word cure or rebuild tissue, it's always prone to go back at a certain point if you go back to the acid side of life. If you really rebuild it, it'll take a long time for anything to go back. You'd have to have years and years and years to go back. But if you stop in the middle or in the beginning, you're going to go back. Because you didn't rebuild. You didn't completely get that. You stopped and then you toxified yourself again. Please help, I need advice. Do you think it is possible that I reversed all the healing I did? No, just like what you just said. It's a good case of what you just said. You don't go back. Well, I won't say that. You could. If you sat there and you went way over on Hellville side, you started eating the dead animals and the milks and all that stuff, yeah, if you didn't detox long enough, you could fill yourself right back up. You could.
But your awareness of where you're at right now is going to be your benefit. You know.
Good point.
You just need to put things in place, practices in place. This is more habit than anything. And we just need to, you went back for 2 months? Great. Consider it a vacation, whatever you want to look at it, a learning experience, whatever you need to look at it. But it's now where you got to turn that around and start walking that road again and doing what you can. Set up some accountability with yourself. Get someone to do this with you to make it easier. Find some support. However you need to do it. Your awareness, though, is got you ahead of the game because you're aware of it.
Exactly. I love what you just said, and that's exactly right. You already have the awareness. You have to get, and that's why I talk about the mind and the emotions. These are bodies that can tug on you, who know the truth, can tug on you because these are conditioned bodies. Your mind is like records in grooves, and those old thoughts of the past come up and pull you to itself. Oh, I got to have that desire thing. It isn't you, it's your bodies. That's why I'm always preaching to get beyond your bodies so you're in control. And then if your mind has an image stuck to an emotional value hooked to a food, you don't fall for that. You look at it, okay, acknowledge it, fine, next. Learn how to move your attention away from things like that, because these are images you have within the mental body. They're not you, but they're images hooked with emotions, because the thoughts are emotionally driven. So you see how God created all that. You got a physical body, you got an emotional body, you got a mental body. All these interact simultaneously. So when you use your mind, you don't realize that it's not your brain you're using. You can use your mind without a brain. You would know that until you had an out-of-body experience. Until you have an out-of-body experience, most people don't realize that you're more conscious out of this body than you are in it, because it limits you so much. This finite body limits your infiniteness so much that you forget that. So it's such a freedom to pull away from that. But you got to remember that emotions and thoughts are things too. And they're power hooks, but they're also chains around your neck, and they can pull you from where you are in your spirituality and your awareness back to old images of emotions and thoughts that were what I did in the past, maybe hooked to a good experience, maybe hooked to a bad experience, maybe hooked to mama and dad, all these things like that. You got to break those things. You be strong within the self. And that's where you work from, always. And you don't let anybody in your world. You can hug them and love them, but you keep you and your awareness and God together, and that's your privacy. That's your individuality. That's the sacredness of who you are. And there you will meet us all. But we also all have minds and emotions, and we're all doing our own game playing and creation. We got our desires, we got our thoughts that lead us down those roads. I like a new car. I like to go gator hunting. How bad? Real bad. All right, you're on the way. You just realize how creation drives itself. And learn how to get separate from that after a while, because you're letting that pull you back to the other side, the side that you did live in. Make this a new adventure. Shed the old clothes and enter a new world of joy and excitement. And look at it that way. So it's a pleasure to eat good. I don't want to eat bad because it makes me feel bad, and put that X on it. I'm done with that. I'm done. Walk away. I'm done. If a thought comes in, it tempts you, I'm done with that. That's your mind coming in going, but try this. It's that sort of thing.
And if we focus on the temptation rather than the goal of where we want to be, that temptation grows and grows and becomes bigger and bigger. It's a living thing.
Exactly. Why? Because your mind, that's your attention. Remember I talked to you earlier in the video, just what we're talking about here. And you brought up an excellent point. Your attention feeds. That's the reality. That fuels a thought, a desire, that fuels it. Take your attention off of that, because just like you said, when you put your attention on, remember, you're this gigantic, unlimited soul. When you put your attention on something, it's going to be just what Marcy said. It's going to grow. Mm-hmm. Right? Yep. That's a good point, Marcy, you made. Excellent point. Take your attention off of it. Go smell some flowers or do something, and come back with a breath of power and strength and enter into that. Mm-hmm. Or go visit a friend. Anything it would take to get back to where I was if I start all again. Forget about where you were. Start right now. It doesn't matter. Keep going down the road, dear. Get any good ripe fruit, which may do everything you can. In the winter, sweetheart, you do everything you can. And do your best. Mm-hmm. It's all you can ask. All can be done. And or move.
Don't focus on the 2 months that you were off. Focus on the 5 months or however long that you did the grapes.
Exactly. And just don't even worry about it. Mm-hmm. Dear Dr. Morse, you did a case study on my mother. Oh, yeah, Margie. YouTube video 211. She has been eating fruits, berries, and melons with a very little vegetables, including beets. Ooh, good. Only because she loves them. Well, the beets, I'm for that. Mm-hmm. That's kidney and liver. So, hooray for Mom. Perfect, Mom. I'm glad you love them. Since the beginning of December, 3 days ago, she woke up with a fever blister she says is deep on the inside of her mouth. I have been putting tea tree oil on it. It's going away. This morning, Sunday, 1/5/14, she woke up with a knot the size of a grape at the collarbone where it meets the sternum. The point that sticks out on us. It's hard and hurts to the touch, but no color change from her skin. Is this a clogged adrenal?
That sounds like a lymphatic pressure point to me.
You
have right here and right here.
Absolutely. But here's the thing. These are healing crises. Coming up, going away. Coming up, going away. Fever, blister, that's herpes. These are acids. These are proteolytic virals. Up, down, these are places that she has problems. Everywhere you see is places she has problems.
Yeah.
And you're going to see up and going in swelling, tumors, lymph nodes, lymphatic spots, neural lymphatic points maybe even. You're going to see that up and down. This is the time not for her to stop her diet.
Right.
This is the time where you don't want to stop and you want to keep your mom driving her car to Wellville, because this has to go up, but it needs to come back down, and it'll probably pop up somewhere else, and that's good detox. When you see something 1 minute go away, now something else, that means her body's moving and working itself, and that's a good sign there. But the kidneys and adrenals, you hit it right on the head. That's the spot. Adrenals turn on kidneys. Jen took a whole bunch of stuff off about the adrenals and steroids and kidney function and stuff, and so I'm going to try to put it together for these guys to show the relationship more of the adrenals affecting kidney function and stuff like that. But I tell you what, the neurolymphatic spots down the spine and, like you said, across this sternum here, ow. That's what you want to do, is do these spots like this and down the back. Make sure her kidneys are filtering or work on it. Your mom's going to probably have a big filtration problem. The older we get, the more of the problem we have. More time on the rock.
Yeah.
Should I rub it or it will drain? It will drain. Is it under the skin? Absolutely. It's subcutaneously probably. Probably near the lymph nodes even. And she woke with a hot spot on the top of her right leg between her knee and foot. Kind of pinkish, a little swollen. See what I'm saying? Good detox is when you see your body moving and breathing to the cleansing process. Swelling going up, going down. Things coming up, going down. Mucus being discharged. Things like this. This is just good detox. She had a blood clot on that same leg, only in the back of her leg where this spot is now. See what I'm saying? You'll always find acidosis and toxemia at the root of every single thing there is. If not, you're healthy. That's easy. I took her off warfarin when she started eating berries, melons, and fruits. I am very concerned since she had the bout with clots and she is not on a warfarin any longer. What should I do? Well, you're on the greatest anti-clot program you could be on. You could add the blood formula, but that might be helpful to you, and a lower circulation. So the only thing I would say is use lower circulation and blood. But I can just tell you that the foods you want to eat when you've had post-blood clots, or you've had post-MIs, which is heart attacks or strokes, is your fruits and your berries. You don't want veggies. No, vitamin K and P and all that crap. You don't want your veggies. You want your fruits and you want your berries and you want your melons. They're the highest in flavonoids, which is your vitamin C complexes, and they are the greatest anti-inflammatories. They keep the blood not thin, not thick, perfect. It's about pHs, not about thin or thickness. It's about toxemia, acids, pH factors. And you're getting, those are the only foods to pull the human pH factor of the blood into balance, clean out all the crap, but then you're cleaning the kidneys, which affect the blood, cleaning the liver, which affects the blood, cleaning the spleen, which directly affects the blood. You're cleaning all the other parts which directly affect the blood. But you always know that when you clot, you're lowered your pHs of your blood. Because acids coagulate fluids, dehydrates and coagulate fluids. So you notice you're doing just right with your mom. Because warfarin doesn't stop all this, and it's a negative effect. I can't remember all the side effects of warfarin, but...
Well, not only that, if she's doing the fruits, she's doing the number one thing that she could do, but the number two thing she could do is if she's even adding any of the herbs in, herbs alkalize also. You're hitting it two-punch, 1-2.
You're doing all the herbs for the blood and for circulation. You're keeping the blood's pH at its perfect pH factor with the fruits and the berries and the melons. Any of the gnarly microbes are going to be cleaned anyway, but they're just in there because of all the other crap that's in the blood as well. So you'll see the blood cleaning itself. But again, go to the spleen, clean the spleen. That's where you clean the blood into the lymph. You're going to get your lymph going because at various places you have the interaction. So you're just going to clean the whole body no matter what.
I had a doctor the other day that wanted to give me heparin. And I told her no, I did not want the heparin. And she said, well, it's going to help keep the blood thin and help things from clotting. And I said, I'm on fruits, melons, and berries, which she kind of crossed her eyes when I said that. But I said, I'm also taking a bunch of herbs which alkalize and already keep my blood where it needs to be. Yeah. And before I left, she told the nurse she doesn't need the heparin. She heard me, which I was very excited about.
Because you said it in an authoritative manner. You know. So that's the only thing I can tell you about the blood and the lower circulation. And blessing. Oh, this is from Linda. Hi, Linda. Make this much shorter. The last message, I just wanted to give you exact information, which was quite lengthy. Oh, that's okay, honey. You know what? Thanks, Linda. And I appreciate it. I hope Mom's doing well. But I see just healing crisis popping out where her problems are. It's where you're going to see the problems. Yep. Where you don't have problems, you're not going to see any problems. But where your problems are, you're going to see some expression like the swelling up here. This could have been a tumor underneath, or something could forming a tumor in the future. You never know. So it's neat to see how the body cleans itself and repairs itself. Now, what's this one? This is from Rap.
I would have to get my glasses.
You have to get your glasses because he took it off so small. This is an Australian. First, I would like to thank you for responding to my last mail. Very appreciated. You're welcome. Meanwhile, I have started my protocol and got a healer to, quote, guide me through. Oh, good. I've had amazing wins and, most important, gained vast knowledge throughout my health journey. Yeah.
We love that.
I can educate others and get the... Now, this is a spiritual person right here. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Now, I have a very important question. My father is battling lymphatic cancer, but, of course, what isn't? That's the thing. Leukemias aren't really cancers. He is just about to start the herbs and has received his protocol. This is all well, but the problem is, about 2 years ago, before he was educated in health, the doctors told him he had a swollen lymph node in his right leg.
So they cut it out.
And people just don't have enough... people just don't have enough awareness of the lymph system to know what that means and to know, whoops, I'm in trouble.
Yep.
And if anything, if we, all of us together, can give the world anything, it's the awareness of the lymph system. And how the kidneys control that, if anything. The present of Santa Claus to this planet. Where am I? Oh, yeah. So they cut it out. Uh-oh. Now, 2 years later, the leg is so swollen and inflamed, my dad can... Ooh. Well... Remember, I said this interesting. I was talking about this earlier on this video. If you remove the lymph nodes, you're in big doo-doo. Because we're good, but we're only so good. I mean, when you remove, when you have a river or a stream going down the mountain and you take out a big part of that, you're going to affect the flow of the water, right? And that's the thing. Hopefully the body can redirect it. But what this is saying right now is that he's got lymphedema down there below where they remove the lymph nodes, which means they removed a very strategic lymph node to the filtration of this guy's leg.
Right.
I don't want to tell you where things can go, but you want to really, Dad's got to be really good. Really detox and really get into the fruits. And Dad, you really got to do good. Because they did you a big injustice by removing the lymph node, and your leg is a victim of that. Nobody ever removes a septic tank at their house when it's full. And that's just what happened to you. The same analogy. Your septic tank was removed, that all the little people living down below is still producing sewage that can't go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. No one removes septic tanks except medical doctors. It's sickening. And this is just another case. And I've given you some other cases that is sickening and vomitous when they remove kidneys or lymph nodes and do not fix that. That's you're going to remove a lymph node, tie the lymph vessels back. Oh, my God. Oh,
so many people... They have swollen lymph nodes, which is the body doing. It's just clogged, It's just clogged. But the doctors want to take them out to biopsy them, and they remove them and then come back and say, you're clear, you're free.
Yeah.
But look at what they just caused.
Exactly. And here's this question. So my question is, where does that part of the body that has a missing lymph node now filter? It doesn't. That's why your dad's leg's red and swollen. It's not going anywhere. It's building. That's what tumors and that's what cysts are. But that's also what swelling and enlargement, hypertrophy is. It's like Dad's in trouble here, down there, and you just got to get totally raw, use the herbs, astringents, and hope fully. And if you get raw enough, our hope is when you have lymph nodes removed or destroyed, they'll rebuild.
Yeah.
Because other than rebuilding a lymph node or the lymph vessels developing a new pathway, so Dad's got to be all raw, and you got to really work your best you can. You might get some sequential leg pumps or socks or things that'll help with that, but these guys did your dad wrong. Does my dad have a fighting chance still, even with a missing lymph node? Absolutely. Oh, I wouldn't count it out, but that leg might be a problem. You know, worst case scenario.
I would try and do some massages. Remember, you have miles and miles and miles of lymphatic vessels. It sounds like they took out a major one, but that does not mean that you can't get some of that drained if you're pushing it in the right direction and trying to manually stimulate and manipulate that.
But it also goes back to even a bigger thing, too, is the kidneys. So, you know, your dad lost his kidney filtration. You get that going, too. While you're doing the massages, you get the kidney filtration, you get the adrenals. Everything you know to be true, you're going to go into your dad and work on this.
Yep.
I mean, only worst case scenario, they could have his leg amputated below that. That would be horrible. But he'd still be alive. But let's just see where that goes and what you're able to do with your dad.
Right.
You know, and you just keep working that and working that. You got to look at all of this and what's going on. It'll all start making sense after a while when you understand sewage, septic tanks, acids, lymph systems, stuff like this starts making itself very clear what man's up against. And these cases, like your dad, are cases that show others just why you don't remove lymph nodes. You clean them out. You just can't remove lymph nodes and think, oh, no big deal. So I was talking about the Dr. Poe and the Dr. Brenda, who's a veterinarian that works with him, took this big lymph node out of this pit bull's neck or something. Oh, let me dissect and see if there's anything wrong with it. Why is it swollen? I thought that just showed stupidity on her part of what lymph nodes and the lymph system is. I don't blame her. I blame our educational system.
Yes.
We have our heads, even in the educational system, ducked. So even though we're prizing our intellectualism and our academics, look how stupid we are.
Well, you have to balance everything. I just said this to a client. You have to balance everything on truth. I can go and I can get a degree in mathematics, but if the professor taught me that 2 + 2 = 5, what good is that degree going to do me? It has to be balanced on truth. Information has to be balanced on truth. If it's not truth, it's not doing you any good. So if you've got doctors out there learning about the body, but they're not learning it correctly, what good is that going to do to you as their patient?
Absolutely, 100%. You just that's it in a nutshell. Please, does my dad have a fighting? Absolutely. Please educate me on this. I really would like to see my dad get better. Dad, me too. Thank you so much. By the way, since discovering you and your teachings, I have nonstop been promoting you to all. Well, you know what? You keep working on yourself, promote yourself too. We're all in this together to get everybody well, to get everybody informed of why you don't. Because your dad is one of millions of victims of lymph node removal.
Yes.
And look at the one girl that's now in she's brain dead because of that. They were wanting to remove her tonsils with her lymph nodes, and look at the end result of that one. Now the little girl's dead, obviously, and there's, so, I mean, that's the problem. And they needed to do that. And, of course, they didn't fix her by removing the lymph nodes, so she'd have had all types of lymphatic problems anyway. And look at her. She's a little overweight. Shows you adrenals right there, kidneys. That was no-brainer. The lymphatic system. You guys would have fixed her up like that. And look, now she's dead. So it's just this sort of thing that's disgusting, and why we do these videos, why we see what we see, and why we're passionate about helping you guys, because it's just a mess out there. Well, I don't know how old some of these are. I've got so much here, guys. I apologize. I have so much paperwork, guys. I'm so sorry. but I don't even know which is which and which is not. Here's one from Daniel. Thank you for all you do. I have a quick question about Keratosis Pilaris, or Keratosis Pilaris, or commonly referred to as chicken skin and rosacea. Yeah, this is a fairly new one up, I think. It's basically those weird-looking small bumps on the upper arms mixed in with rosacea. Doesn't matter. You know, it's all lymph and all that implies. Whether you have little creatures in there helping you try to chew some of this garbage up or what. Doesn't matter the expressions you get on the outside. This is all lymphatics. I had rosacea really, really bad until I finally understood what it was. So it's that sort of thing. Use hot and cold compresses on the face. Scrub your face. At the same time, you have to get your sinuses drained, and everybody going down south to the kidneys, or your skin is always going to be the victim. You know, because it's either out the kidneys or out the skin, or, hello, I'm your new roommate. And these roommates aren't fun roommates because they're acids and they always like to hurt you. So that's all that is. But do a hot and cold compress to get real hot, then real cold, scrub that skin. But at the same time, do the neurolymphatics down your back, start cleaning out your head, which means that your GI tract's probably a mess with it, man. Yeah. So you want to get in there and do that, Daniel.
You could actually do a baking soda. It's the outside. Remember, you have to go from the inside to clean it. But you could do some baking soda washing and scrubbing. I love those. I do them all the time.
You could do that for sure. And internally, you could even put a little quarter teaspoon in a cup of water or something type of thing. But a grape fast would be better. Now, what is a great way to cleanse and release that from my body? Daniel, get on raw foods, get on your fruits. I've done a 2-week green juice fast followed by a 2-week water fast. All right, drop me 40-day grapes. I want a 40-day grape fast from you, Daniel, and I'll bet you'll get rid of most of that during that 40-day grape fast. I prefer not to be eating any fruits. Please let me know. I'd prefer not to be eating any fruits. Oh, Daniel, smack yourself on the hand, my friend. Thank you anyway. I'll tell you what then. Put yourself on a 6-month green juice fast. You need the fruit, Daniel, to get your lymph moving better. At least get on herbs. If you can't do fruits, get up on herbs and do your green juices and get away from your vegetables, period. Do the juices.
I would have a question for you. Why do you not want to do the fruits?
Yeah, me too.
I mean, even look at kids.
I have too. I want to know why you don't want to eat me as the sample.
Look at kids. Kids are drawn to fruits. They're not drawn to broccoli.
Look at this good thing. Well, let me show you this. How could you turn down these blackberries? How could you turn down a blackberry?
I think if you look at your reasoning for why you don't want to go to fruits and you look at truth behind that, you may have some false information about why you do not want to do the fruits. I would look at that as a root issue.
Agree. Mr. David Greenman, she has ordered from us in the past. Her concern, although we didn't monitor nor affiliation with the Facebook page. Let me see here. This is, Brittany, she quoted it. Oh, no, I already took care of this. Yeah, I took care of this. All right. He pulls them up so small. I had to put my glasses on because I can't hardly read them. They're so small. This print is so small, guys, we can't hardly read it. And I think it's the way Chris pulls them off or the way they are on that. This is from Kim. I was trying to email Dr. Morse, but I could not find this email address on his website. I was wanting to ask him about fructose. He says that fructose gets in the cell by diffusion and not by active transport. All the research I have done tells me that fructose has to be taken to the liver. Bull hockey. Disagree with that. And metabolized, not fructose. No way. And you see that on type 1 diabetics to really show you that. And, you know, there's another thought in physiology that fructose must be taken to the liver and converted to glucose. How do you convert a simple sugar to another simple sugar? I mean, that's all stupid stuff, guys. I'm just telling you. It's all ridiculous. And it's just, I would forget about all of that and not even worry about it because it's not even true. Don't need to do that. Fructose is the nicest, simplest sugar you'll ever find. And that's the one you want. You only have 3 simple sugars. How they combine themselves tells you whether it's a disaccharide, polysaccharide, meaning di, meaning 2 or more, poly, meaning many saccharide, saccharides, meaning sugar. So it doesn't matter. I would say this. Those people that write about that are unhealthy and don't know how to get well. That's true. All the research to the liver to be metabolized, change to glycogen. You don't have to turn fructose to glycogen. That's bull hockey. Glucose is more converted to glycogen and broken back down to glucose. As an inferior sugar, I might quite add. And then you get ketones from doing that. I like the fructose much, much, much better. You should remember, not everything in physiology is accurate or what you think they know. This should be quite apparent by now of all the theories and the misunderstandings that's out there. And one of them is the lack of understanding of kidney filtration of the lymph. Yeah. Huge one. How could in the 21st century we have missed such a vital part of the body? Yeah, ask yourself. I mean, we might think we're up there in knowledge and awareness because it's the 21st century and we have nice clothes, we've been able to do some things with chemistry. You'd be shocked at what we don't know. Look at the medical profession. They're touted as the most smartest intellectual of all the labs, all the scientists working feverishly to find the cure for all these things, and that's all crap. It's all crap. All the animals that are hurt and destroyed from doing this kind of stuff, and the truth is right there in front of them. Yep. This is why Jesus went off in the marketplace. This is why some of the saints and saviors lost it a couple of times. Enough is enough is enough. Enough stupidity, enough man burying his head in the sand. Wake up or rot here, because that's just what's going to happen here. And these sort of things, you just got to get beyond them. If you think fruits are bad, then you have a whole primate family to fight, because that's their food source, whether they're stuck as omnivores or what. You just don't see any problems with primates that are on fruit diets. You don't. Let's see, change to glycogen, gets converted to glucose, and then released into the blood to be carried. And the reason you see something different on type 1s, where you see insulin need for glucose, you get them off of any glucose and you put them on fructose, what happens to their blood sugar, Marcy? It goes right down and right into normal ranges. You might have some glucose loading, but that's from glucose, not from fructose. But every type 1, or most of them, there's some that are still brittle, blah, 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 blah. But most of them we put on fruit, their blood sugar goes right down. Just talking to one yesterday. Oh, when I stay on the fruit, my blood sugar's perfect. That means they're getting ATP and everything is doing well. They're healthy, they feel vital. So then a question is, how about glucose? That is an inferior sugar. Why do we need a carrier for a simple sugar when we've broken it down as simple as possible? It means that cells aren't accepting glucose without a carrier. When a cell accepts fructose, strange stuff. There's so much in this that it pulls your hair out that we can't know, because our scientific community has not what you think it is. We're still removing lymph nodes on people. We're still doing all these sort of bizarre, dark agey things, and you trust in that kind of information for your sucre or your knowledge, and that's the problem.
If you're a type 1 diabetic and you're going along on the fruits and you're doing well, and then you're spiking your sugars, you're either going into a deeper level of detox and hitting another sugar loading issue, or you take a look at your adrenals and what's happening with your adrenals. Maybe emotionally something's happened. Maybe something traumatic has happened. I just had a gentleman in the other day. I don't understand it. My sugars are going up again. We started questioning. Oh, he'd ran out of his adrenals for at least a week.
Look at that.
His sugars had went from 90, 95 to 130 and 150.
Look at that, yeah, adrenals, absolutely.
But he'd run out of it. He was a type 1, but he'd run out of it.
I was educated about fructose. She's asked me to supply the information. I was educated about fructose because Dr. Marcola, whoopee, one of the worst, in my opinion. I don't have any respect for that guy, but that's just my opinion. I have a right to have my opinion against someone else. And that's one guy I just don't hold in a very high esteem. No offense, but that's my own thinking. And if you think he's a good cure and a healer, follow that guy if you want. But it's enough to say I learned in school, and I learned from medical dictionaries and things like that because I'm always studying. And I also, in clinical work, where we see it in actual action, and we see that. You know, because if we wouldn't have the effect that we have if you thought fructose was an inferior sugar. And if you'll study your species, the most superior species are the primates and the Homo sapiens, neurologically speaking. And it's only fruit that can rebuild man's nervous system. So you got to take a look at a whole picture of what we see to understand the value of fruits, berries, and melons, especially fruits and berries, over vegetables. And anybody that believes vegetables and glucose is superior to fruit for Homo sapiens, I think you're just not seeing the whole picture, and you're relying on other people's information who have the same constipated view. Because it's obvious. All you have to do is study the different vertebrates, how their body's designed, how long their gut is, how well their absorption is, what foods that species eating outside of conditioning like us, because we completely eat from conditioning. And when we have people tell us that scientists and our scientific community tell us we can't do this or can't do this because of this, and this is a good example with the fructose thing. It's just a whole species gone insane. A species that hasn't got its head up out of the sand yet. And you have so many people on YouTube that's been on the fruit to prove to you just what's going on here, and that people get well from that.
Yeah.
Well, that's all I can say on that.
Just test it and prove it. That's your biggest learning thing. Isn't the YouTube. Your biggest thing is examples in your own life, and test the fruits.
Yeah, she said her daughter went to school and said since I had a different opinion of what she's learned in school, she no longer considered us viable information. Well, you know, it's too bad. And you see, I want greatly appreciate exactly how fructose is utilized by the cell, diffusion, and not how it gets converted into energy like glucose does in the Krebs cycle. All things move through the Krebs cycle. And notice on the Krebs cycle, most everything released is acids. Yeah, absolutely. This is Kimberly in Naples, Florida. That's all I can tell you, sweetheart. I got my information from schools and medical dictionaries. I don't know. You know, you get different information from different schools. I don't know what to tell you. I know what it is in practical usage. And if your daughter wants to follow traditional science, let her go ahead. You'll see what's going on with the traditional man right now. So if you think the medical doctors and all their wisdom and all that knowledge is right, and that they can cure you from your problems with their information, you tell your daughter to go right ahead. Because I have no time for people who think that. You know, go ahead and play with those dreams for a while and see where you go. Most people on this site's already been that route. Yeah. Been that route and been that route and been that route. That's the problem. You know, you're trying to fight a route that people's been down and has no remedy there. Look at the condition of the human state. So if you believe what all you read in chemical science and in physiology, that's why I told you about that professor that's an A&P professor, and she said, man, you're the only one that put my attention to the kidneys, and now that just totally, I understand the lymph system better. That's not in the books. So if you want to keep believing unawareness, go ahead. If I've come across where I learned all that stuff, I'll definitely put it together for you guys and show you that. But I've had a lot of years of studying and learning. A lot of books under me. Thousands and thousands of studies I had. That's why I quit studying them, because I don't want pseudo information anymore. Right. We want to see what works on you. We want to see what works on people that come in here in a clinical application of what we're teaching you. And we are the best. You can't get much better than us and all you guys and the YouTubers and all this at getting people to Wellville, because all the people come to us have already been down the medical route, been down the homeopathic route, been down all these other routes, guys. Yeah. And they don't found their way to Wellville. So you have to realize you have to make room for ignorance of allopathy and ignorance of modern science. Because if you think modern science has all the answers, then your daughter has a lot to learn yet. My name is Adele. We got Adele.
Yes.
Adele. I love Adele. Sing us something. My name is Adele, and I'm 28 years old. That's not Adele.
No.
That's not Adele. I'm Italian. Not at all. And I recently discovered your videos on YouTube. I really appreciate your perspective about health in the body, and I'd like to seek your advice, okay? I'm dealing with painful intercourse since I started having sex and don't know how to resolve this. Well, let's stop right there. If you have a vaginal dryness, that's going to be a low estrogen from the adrenal glands. Now, a lot of times when you're having menses, that ovarian estrogen will spill over and a woman will stay moist there. But boy, when you have a hysterectomy, a lot of women who have adrenal weakness, which ends up causing hysterectomies, then gets vaginal dryness. If you have vaginal dryness, then I would suggest black cohosh. Now, black cohosh is an herb that's estrogenic. So for those ladies that have a lot of estrogen, you don't want to go on black cohosh. You will not be happy. But for those ladies that are having vaginal dryness and things, then use black cohosh. The female reproductive formula is not an estrogenic formula. I don't make an estrogenic formula. You might want to find one on the market that has black cohosh, or just get black cohosh and add about a half a dropper full or a dropper full to your 3 times a day regimen that you're already on if you're on herbs. And that should help you, because that's what we do here for people that have vaginal dryness. At the same time, I would do what you said earlier. I would douche with the Hill All Tea for about 2 weeks, once every night. Get yourself, follow the instructions on the bag there, and get yourself a douche bag thing or a hot water bottle. Get in a bathtub, lift the hips, insert, and clean that vaginal canal. At the same time, I'd get my kid, because I can't tell you without looking at your eyes whether you have genetic weakness on the wall, right. But you can tell if you have pain, it's acidosis. Absolutely. And it means that your wall could be real thin. Your nervous system could be inflamed down in that wall, and that would all be from acidosis in the wall. Mm-hmm. So get your kidneys filtering, get your adrenals up, and really get that lymphatic system filtering. Real important to do that. Because you don't know, without a picture, you don't know whether she is experiencing vaginal dryness, she's experiencing irritation because the wall's so thin, she's highly inflamed. Have you had atypical cells before from a pap smear? Have you ever had a DNC? Things like that. Exactly. And that puts you right into harm's way there. How's your monthly cycles? Are you overbleeding or something like that? Matter of fact, this might be a case where she doesn't have good monthly cycles. She might miss a period every now and then. Mm-hmm. She could have real low estrogen levels. It's hard to say with just this one question here.
Exactly.
I'm doing a sort of rehabilitation of the pelvic floor with a specialist. Oh, that's scary. And this is helping a lot to relax the muscle. Well, if your muscle is tight, that's acidosis. You could use an antispasmodic internally, which would relax the muscle the same way. So our antispasmodic neuromuscular spasm relaxes that. Chamomile is a good smooth muscle relaxer. Mm-hmm. Things like that is good for that. At the same time, that's all suggestive of high acidosis, spasticity, things like that. But still, I can't get rid of the burning. Burning is acids caused by a vulvodynia. All right, so, if you're involving that trouble where the vulva and all that is highly inflamed, you really need to get it deep into because we've seen, Rita was one of them, has been bedridden and couldn't wear clothes for years. I mean, this is not fun for a female, and atrophy of the female area will take place here, and you don't want that. And you'll pop atypical cells or move to cervical or vaginal wall cancers and stuff like that. You want to get to there's no pain, no sensation down there other than good stuff. All right, very important to that, because this leads to nowhere very, very quickly.
Yeah.
I was told to. Must have been told I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. What she means. I've taken some pills to treat this. There's nothing, no pills going to treat that, honey. Matter of fact, you might get up on Facebook, see if Rita will talk to you on Facebook, and talk about her story. But I can just tell you that incredible stories. That a lot of women with this, and I didn't really realize how many women were involved with this, and it's just not good. It's all acidosis. And it's just not good, sweetheart. So take care of yourself. Get your lymph moving. Get your kidneys filtered. Get your adrenals up so your steroids are up. Get all this cleaned up, and all this will go away. It's the only way to get rid of this one.
with that much acid and stuff down there, you know, you've really got to be careful to get this normalized, get this moving, get these acids out of there, because cervical cancer and uterine cancer, you know, all of this stuff is down the road if you don't.
That's what I see here too. The muscle's too tense. Well, when you got it too tense, you have a spastic muscle, and the spastic muscle is caused from acidosis, the withdrawal of calcium, blah, 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 blah. So you want to check your parathyroid. You also use an antispasmodic. You also want to move the lymph, so you get that muscle back into a pliable muscle. You get the acids out, everything goes back to normal. But the worst part for me is the mucosa. It never feels lubricated enough. Absolutely. It could be you're fighting a bunch of all those things. Remember, acids dehydrate. Even though, remember I said life is just a variance of pHs? Well, look at this. Estrogen does keep a woman moist down there, and it's acidic, but it isn't at the pH to destroy. You know, they blame estrogen for everything. Yeah, but I can tell you, you know, most men have tasted some estrogen sometime or another. It's not like Coke. So all I can say is that this is acidosis, probably systemically, internally, and you might be low on estrogen at the same time. So get on the adrenals. That'll handle the estrogen, you know, ovarian estrogen that way. Get your adrenals up, get your kidneys filtering, get that, you know, get that douche going and clean that wall up, and do your best with that sort of thing. In the last year, I've done 2 vaginal swab tests and tested positive for enterococcus. Country boy, that word is a tongue twister. Both times treated with antibiotics. These guys are just enjoying the fruits of toxemia. At the same time, I'm having intestinal issues. See how it's all linked together? See why we go into the bowels, we clean up the bowels, we clean up the kidneys. So, what gland controls peristalsis? The adrenals, neurotransmitters. So here you go. You got the adrenals, you got low autonomic nerve response to the bowels, you've got you got probably low estrogen, your constipation, of course, results. You have acidosis, and you're burning, all of this thing.
Yeah. Another thing you could do is with the Heal tea and douching with that, add just a little Parasite M. I mean, if you've got issues down there where they're treating you with antibiotics, add the Parasite M in there for a little bit when you douche.
It's got, I think I've got some black walnut in there anywhere, powder. But still, you could do that. But remember, the bacterium would only be in there because of why?
Exactly.
Just what you said, a dry mucosa. But a dry mucosa means that you're too acidic, and this is lymph. Well, that's going to breed bacterium. And so this is all about, so it's getting the body, restoring the body back to a state of health again. And get on your fruit and berry and melon diets, and get your kidneys filtering, and, you know, get everything moving like that, and hydrate yourself. And then you'll pull yourself out of this. But this is something that you really, and there's a lot of ladies that need to hear this, because this is a common problem out there, and it's a big one. And so, ladies, so this is, you know, get in, get yourselves healthy there. In terms of my general medical history, I've suffered from migraines since I was a child. So check your stomach and bowels. Make sure your thyroid and parathyroid is up, and clean your sinuses. When it's the most intense, I tend to vomit. Check your stomach. You know, this could be coming out of the stomach. Get your GI tract cleaned up. You know, you could also have an involvement back at the cerebellum. But generally, if you throw up like that, it's either cerebellum or stomach. And that's what I'm saying. This is the GI tract. This is constipation. You got stomach. You know, all of this sort of thing related to that. 4 to 5 times per year, and it won't stop for a couple of days if I don't take medication. As a child, I took a lot of antibiotics for bronchitis, and I was told to have a weak immune system. And I hate when they talk about that, you know. But I was just saying that you were on a lot of antibiotics, you had a lot of bronchitis. Guess what? You had a lot of mucus. And why? Because you were eating mucus-forming foods. So what you have to do is now go back and clean the mucus out. So you're probably going to go back and revisit bronchitis. But this time you're going to be smarter, sweetheart. You're going to go in with an awareness that you were trying to treat a condition you were creating.
Yeah.
And so now you're going to go back and detox the bronchi and the sinuses and all this. You're going to get the bowels, the stomach cleaned up. You're going to clean yourself, because the antibiotics could have hurt the stomach, blah, 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 blah. So clean up the stomach, get away from proteins, you know, cool everything down, get your lymph moving well so everything can moisten, get your adrenals up to where you can get more systemic estrogen. If you need to use black cohosh, you could use black cohosh with that. I had surgery to remove a the oma from my breast tissue. Okay, so here we go. You know, she's fibrocystic. She's heading toward breast cancer at that time, and I'm doing an echograph every 6 to 8 months to check the situation. Well, as long as you don't clean your lymph system, then you need to check it. But when you check it, what are you going to do? Have it cut out again? You know, you want to fix it so you don't have these problems anymore. You want to address the cause of lymphatic problems, and that's always going to bring you to the adrenals and kidneys. And these are lymphatic problems. Okay. Right now, it feels like my body is completely out of balance and stuck. But as far as possible, I'd like to avoid regular medication, considering that it hasn't worked well for me in the past. Can you please help? Absolutely, honey. And that is, get yourself into at least an 80-20 through the winter here, raw versus cooked. But I would kick it up a little notch, do the dishing like we talked about. If you do have vaginal dryness or just the mucosa's decay and atrophy, you're getting atrophy down there anyway. I hate to put estrogen in on top of a highly acidic area down there.
Yeah.
And if she has the wall dying, then she's probably extremely acidic in this area. You can use Hill tea with a pad as a compress, and you could use other oils. Matter of fact, you could use coconut oil or castor oil on a pad and put it down in the female area and let that, because oils are antacid, anti-inflammatory, just on the outer there to help you a little bit. You could do that. A few of these things will help in the process of you getting well.
Right.
And that's the best way to do that. And I think we're going to end with that one because we have so many, we'd be here forever. And I haven't had lunch, and it's 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock.
What do you think?
I think my stomach's going to speak for this one.
You guys, you and Drew need to get together and play this. From all of us to all of you, we love you all, and we really appreciate your endeavors here. Just remember, the world doesn't have all the answers out there, and you guys are getting them. And we still don't have all the answers. Who cares? Don't make this a mental trip that you'll never find the answers to and lose your spirituality while you're doing it. It's just not worth it. You just simply realize that we are very ignorant when it comes to health. That's obvious. You guys being the smartest there is, because you see how you're bringing yourself. You know, the proof is always where we come in Indiana, in the pudding.
Yeah.
The proof is in the pudding. You guys, as well as us, are pulling all these people that are advanced into the Wellville station. And when you can do that, it doesn't matter what your A and B books say. It doesn't matter what your medical doctors say. It doesn't matter what this book says or that book says, because you're living proof that you can take someone out of Hellville and bring them back to Wellville. When you can do that, then you want to look at the modus operandi. Why did you use raw to pull someone healthy? Why did you use the herbs to pull someone healthy? Does that thing that we're focusing on what's causing the problem? Absolutely. So you guys are getting more causative aware, you're getting more spiritually aware, and don't let the mind trick you and fool you and then carry you on to ideas like the fructose idea that has no remedy because there's too much disagreement. When you have too much disagreement, and I'm not the only one who agrees with fructose, so you can't fight that. You can't find the answers in anatomy and physiology books, and it doesn't really matter. What matters is how you take someone that has problems and get them well. And that's what matters. And that's what you guys are doing in a simplistic way. Because intellectually, we already are fried ourselves intellectually on this planet. We are a result on this planet of academics and intellectualism. Look around. It's unreal. There's so much ego and narcissism among politicians and medical doctors, among the educated, that the rest of us poor little people, you know, and that's not, we take our rightful place. We are each souls. We each come out of the gigantic Godhead. You're all beautiful people. We're just lost in our awareness of how to be well. And we've had no one really helping us. Little bits and pieces. All Jesus tried to help, Buddha, all these people dropped hints. No one really picked up on them. Now we're picking up on them because you have to. The bodies are suffering so bad, mutated so bad. We got to roll up our sleeves, and God's making us go to the very reality of it. And it's essential, and it's important, it's needed. So don't let that trip you up. We love you all. You have fun whenever. I don't know when Krysta's going to get this one up, but we love you, and we hope that this new year you're going to find your remedies and find your health.
Make 2014 your adventure.
Coming from an adventurous woman. Thank you. Love you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.